Not yet.
Test.
I'm broadcaster Drake Toll, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. I'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Curry College. Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs, NCAA Division III athletics, and continuing education and graduate studies, including fifth-year master's programs at curry.edu. Franklin Sports. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again the proud official batting glove sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. Cape Cod, the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day.
Good afternoon and welcome back inside McKeon Park. Judy Walden Scarefile Field, the scene for Game 2 of today's doubleheader between the Harbor Hawks and the Chatham Anglers. We're already underway. First batter, Jake DeLeo, stands in against the left-hander Jonathan Fincher. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. Misses low, 2-1. If you're just joining us, Austin Nakuda, Zach Berman, and a special guest here with us for Game 2, the Harbor Hawks General Manager Nick Johnson. Nick, welcome to the booth. We're excited to have you.
Boys, happy to be on.
And Nick, you were here for years in the booth broadcasting, so this is a little bit of a homecoming for you.
It is. You know, it's early to age me this early in the game. But yeah, I have 4 years up in the booth, so it's nice to be back.
Here's the 2-2 from Fincher. That one's a weak grounder down the first baseline. Foul.
Well, I guess Drake has left us to go see Elvis again because clearly he was so enamored with it the first time he saw it. But hey, great win in the opener.
Big time win to
Over
start
500.
off the doubleheader. Here's the 2-2, fouled off again. 7-3 the final in Game 1 for the Hawks. The winning pitcher, Jake Berry, the left-hander from Virginia. And Ty Langenberg records his second save of the year, 2 1/3 for Langenberg. 2 hits, 5 punch-outs, a big night for him out of the bullpen. Game 2 for the Hawks as the 2-2 is cut on and missed. Fincher starts the day with a punch-out, and there's one away.
So to get you quickly in on Fincher out of Louisiana Tech, one of the 3 LA Tech Bulldogs that make up this roster, and he comes in with a 3.86 ERA in one game. Started in that game, he went 4 2/3, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, both of them of the earned variety, struck out 2. So he's already halfway up his strikeout total from last game as he
That brings up Nate Nankiel, the right fielder. He did not play in the first game of today's doubleheader, so a fresh bat at the plate as Fincher winds up and fires a 1-0 pitch, called a strike as the count evens up.
It's a very different lineup than we saw from Game 1 for Chatham. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to bat for the Anglers today. Did not start in Game 1 today.
That misses.
Yeah, I was going to jump in and say, you know, one of the things that attracted me to Fincher in the offseason was his ability to get ahead in counts. Really a competitor, throws a ton of strikes.
Yeah, 2-1 on the outside corner. I know, Nick, we talked about a little bit earlier. You guys were very high on Fincher as somebody who could really be a rotation arm for this team throughout the whole summer.
Sure, yeah, and preseason Conference USA Pitcher of the Year.
Cut on and missed, and Fincher showing why everyone's excited to see him pitch. Back-to-back punch-outs to start us off.
And I think around the league, coaches and general managers have different things they're looking for to bolster their roster. I think for my guys, Mazak Davari, Zach Chase, things we looked for were low walk totals. Guys that are going to come in here, compete with the wood bats.
Yeah, the first pitch, a ball outside to Hayden Travinsky, who's the catcher today.
If you can locate, spot up, pitch up on the hands, you're going to get those true results you don't get in college. We thought Fincher was a guy that would do really well up here.
Called strike, and he's done well so far to start off Game 2 of the doubleheader. And the Hawks have been in the top of the pack in most of the pitching categories throughout the season, and the bats have also started to wake up as that one's swung on and missed. 1-2 the count. It's got to feel good, Nick, to now see the Hawks above 500 for the first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming with short history of myself, coming from an intern.
And swung on and missed. Jonathan Fincher wastes no time, strikes out the side in order, all swinging, and the bats are going to come up to the plate as we're scoreless heading to the bottom of the first on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. I'm broadcaster Austin Dakuda, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harborhawks baseball on the Hyannis Harborhawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including the Yawkey Foundation. Tom and Gene Yawkey were passionate about the game of baseball. Over their 7 decades as owners of the Boston Red Sox, the Yawkeys greatly invested in youth and amateur athletics in our community. They recognize the important skills baseball can bring to players both on and off the field: cooperation, respect, teamwork, friendships, and confidence. The Yawkey Foundation has been proud to support the Cape League for more than 25 years. The Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau is partnering with the Cape Cod Baseball League this year to help you find a trusted business at bbb.org. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harborhawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk. Welcome back for the bottom of the second inning here in Game 2 of today's 7-inning doubleheaders. Austin Dakuda, Zach Berman, and Nick Johnson in the booth for what should be an exciting matchup. It's already got off to a hot start, and the Harborhawks bats haven't even come to the plate. With that in mind, let's take a look at the Harborhawks starting lineup. First with Mitch Jebb in the leadoff spot and playing shortstop. He was also in the lineup for Game 1 and had another solid start. Tito Flores back in the 2 spot. Justin Hyannis moves to the DH spot, still batting third. Christian Moore bumped up to cleanup and playing right field. Following that is Nolan Shanuel, the first baseman. Rocco Pepe back in the lineup, now playing third base. Philip Matulia out in center. Charlie Taylor, the catcher. And Riku Nishida over at second. So the Hawks with a couple guys who played the first game, but we're going to get to see one guy by the name of Charlie Taylor making his first start in Nick, now with 3 catchers on the roster. Taylor coming up from Tennessee, somebody you guys are very excited to have.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, in the past, under Chad Gasson, we would carry 2 catchers. Coach Beatty really wanted that 3rd catcher, said he thought it was of paramount importance to carry him. Taylor, a guy who didn't get a ton of ABs on a very stacked Tennessee team, but talking to the coaching staff over there, they're very high on him defensively. The bat a work in progress. But honestly, if he comes up here and plays great defense, works with his staff, we'll be very happy. Anything extra with the bat is just a bonus at this point.
So we saw Jacob Campbell in Game 1. We saw Pancho Ruiz last night in the tie at Bourne. So now we'll get to see the 3rd catcher, Charlie Taylor, just a little bit later. I already saw him in the field in the last half inning. Here comes Mitch Jebb, the leadoff man, as he goes after a first pitch and fouls it back. Jebb is coming off of a solid Game 1 in which he went 2 for 4, a pair of singles, a pair of runs scored, an RBI as well, and stole a base. And Jebb, somebody the Hawks weren't expecting to have necessarily, but has made an instant impact since joining the team.
I mean, an unbelievably exciting player. So many tools. Contact bat, as I believe he was the 13th hardest player to strike out in Division I baseball. I might have that by 1 or 2 off, but
well, that would be pretty good.
Pretty good.
That one's going to miss. 2-1 the count.
And as we talked about pitchers not walking guys, the thing we look at when we recruit is, how often do these guys strike out? Because if they're striking out a lot at school, it's not going to get any easier up here.
Jebb smacks that one to center field. It's going to get down for a leadoff single, and Mitch Jebb does what he did best at college, put the ball in play. As Nick, you mentioned, he only struck out 16 times in 209 at-bats. That's one strikeout every 13.7 at-bats, and he's continued to carry that over here onto the Cape.
And now you see him on the base path. I mean, plus speed, but a lot of people have good speed. He has insane baseball IQ. He knows exactly when to go. He's pre-game asking a ton of questions. Hey, can I get the times of the pitchers? It's just a guy that's just very baseball savvy. You would think maybe everyone is, but
Tito chops that one foul from the left-hander Ben Hampton.
And watch that. Even Tito was ready to go the second that ball was made contact with, and it just speaks to the level of how he reads the game.
Yeah, we've seen Ben Hampton before. He made the start back on June 14th in the 1-1 tie over at Veterans Field in Chatham. 4 innings, just 1 run across against the Hawks as Flores comes up empty on the swing and is behind 0-2.
Well, you want to talk about Hampton. He has really improved over the years. Of course, his first appearance was in 2020 with the Green Bay Booyah, yes, it's a real team name, of the Northwoods League. And he appeared in 4 games at an ERA of 14.85, but he has really cleaned it up down the stretch.
Here's the 0-2 to Flores. It's a breaking ball that misses low. Jebb retreats to first, and the count moves to 1-2.
Well, if you remember from the first game, it was very much a two-pitch mix. You're going to see fastball, slider. It's kind of 50-50, maybe a show-you change. But you're really looking at two pitches. And I found it interesting coming off a hard-throwing lefty in game one. You piggyback that with kind of a softer throwing lefty.
Flores caught a piece of it, but it was hung on to by the catcher Travinski, and he goes down on strikes for the first out.
And what I was going to say is that's going to work to me one of two ways. Either the different arm slots and speed are going to keep these hitters off balance, or seeing the back-to-back lefties who both showcased a great breaking ball might give Hyannis an advantage in this game as they're seeing a pretty similar profile pitcher, just with different velocity.
Hampton misses low. Jebb's caught between first and second. Travinski's going to make the throw to second. They got Mitch Jebb in a pickle. He's going to go back to first, and they're going to get him. Mitch Jebb just got caught in between on a block by Travinski, and unfortunately is hung out to dry on the bases.
That's a nice play by Travinski, and you know, we've seen Mitch Jebb escape those pickles before. We saw it against Brewster, but you know, just a tough play and a good block by a good catcher in Travinski.
Hyannis at the plate for the first time here in Game 2. Not the first time today, as he was 2 for 3 in the Game 1 win. It was a big double that he had in the 5th inning, which really put the nail in the coffin on Carson Wisenhunt, the left-handed star for the Anglers, as that one misses for a ball as well. And it's got to feel good for these bats to go out. You have one of the top pitchers here in the league in Wisenhunt on the mound, right? A guy who is all over draft boards, expected to be a high pick, you know, in the first couple of rounds, and to go get a few runs on him is huge. Called strike, and they put up 7 runs on Carson Wisenhunt, all of them earned as well. What a big day for the Hawks bats.
Hey, 3 times in 4 games the Hawks have scored 7 or more runs.
Bats are heating up. 3-1 to Hyannis, 3-hitter. He takes a ball on the outside part of the plate. That's called a strike, and the count moves to full. And
what I was really impressed with were the at-bats by the lefties in our lineup. I mean, a very tough at-bat against left-handed batters.
And ball forward, Hyannis with another tough at-bat and works a 2-out walk.
You know, and credit, you know, to a certain extent.
Like, oh, they're going to call that
what happened
strike
there?
Strike 3. Believe it was strike 3.
I didn't see the umpire raise his arm at any point.
No, it was not.
So it's a called strike 3. Hyannis goes down looking. A little surprising there, and I guess that'll end the inning.
I saw the umpire motion a little bit. It didn't seem like a full-on strike call, but as Hyannis was getting ready to go to first, the first thing I noticed was the applause from the Chatham section of McKeon Park, and then what do you know? So 1, 2, 3 down go the Hawks.
So we'll keep it here in between innings as Fincher returns to the mound. He struck out the side in order in the first, and as we mentioned, Nick, we were impressed by the left-handed at-bats by the guys against Wisenhunt, somebody who has a good fastball. That slurve was exceptionally tough. That slider-type curveball pitch was really tough against lefties, too, but they still fought.
Absolutely, and it was interesting. In pre-game in the dugout with the boys, I like talking about the game's starting pitcher, and you know, we've run into a couple of good arms early on, a couple of guys that will be departing for Team USA, and then, of course, we only play Chatham 4 times, and we run into him,
right.
Which last night when I'm looking over everything, I'm like, of course we are. But, you know, I was actually talking to Mitch Jebb pregame, and he said, I love facing the elite arms. He said it makes us better. He's like, doesn't scare any of us, and if they're all going to leave for either USA or draft, it's going to make us better for either the second wave of arms or the arms that aren't of the caliber of those guys, which I it made complete sense to me, but I was also just in awe on how much these guys really are competitors and like stepping up to the challenge.
And this comes only a few days after the Hawks roughed up Teddy McGraw from Brewster, who is a potential first couple round draft pick as well.
Back here for the top of the second inning as Fincher returns to the bump. It's Chuck Ingram to lead it off. He takes a called strike, and Ingram did appear in Game 1. He went 0 for 2. That pitch on the outside corner is something that's been called league-wide this year. They're giving the outside strike to the pitcher. The inside pitch, not as much, as that one's fouled back.
This seems to be a much more efficiently working Fincher than we saw in Game 1, the first time he pitched against Katuitt.
The 0-2. Called strike 3. Jonathan Fincher is on fire as he strikes out 4 in a row to start off the ballgame.
And that's the MO. It's quick, good pace, get me the ball, let me throw it, and he spots up. I mean, the sequence there, in, goes away on the outside corner. You've seen it all day. They're giving it to you.
Yep.
Go off, especially with 2 strikes and a perfectly executed fastball.
It's got to say something about Charlie Taylor, right? Just got in a couple days ago. now in his first time catching Fincher in a game, first time appearing in a Cape game is Charlie Taylor. First 4 guys go down swinging, or go down on strikes, that is. Got to say something about the game he's calling as Temez flies that one to center field. Philip Matulia makes the catch, and 2 down quickly here in the top of the second.
You know, crazy thing about, Fincher is one of his former collegiate coaches, Pablo Ortiz in the dugout, said his very successful sophomore year, he was almost 90% fastball. And he was extremely successful. It's very hard to be successful as a pitcher when you're throwing one pitch 90%.
First pitch misses outside to Caden Grice, who had a 2-run home run. But he's clearly developed a bit since that fastball, 90%.
You see a secondary pitch, but when you locate so well, you can live with it, and especially on the Cape.
Popped up, foul.
Where if you can just pitch on the hands, hit your locations, you're going to have a ton of success because the wood bat up here is the great equalizer. You've seen it a million times. There's been a ton of balls that would be collegiate home runs we've seen here, but you're going to get true results. Now, scouting report here, you got to go fastball high against Caden Grice.
See where they go on 1-1. It's a fastball. Came up empty, 1-2 at 89, says the radar gun.
It's such an interesting perspective to have the literal general manager that put this team together in the booth. We're not getting this anywhere else. I don't think another team on the Cape is getting this anywhere else.
The 1-2 is cut on and missed. Jonathan Fincher cannot be touched here at McKeon Park. 6 up, 6 down, 5 punch-outs as we head to the bottom of the second on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Fastball up.
Yeah. There's the scouting report.
I'm Zach Berman, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Mosquito Mary's. The Cape Cod Baseball League would like to welcome our new sponsor, Mosquito Mary's, a locally owned, family-operated business that provides all natural mosquito and tick control services. Call 866-ASK-MARY or go to mosquitomarys.com. Mention the Cape Cod Baseball League and get your first treatment for only $29. We would also like to thank 99 Restaurants. The 99 Restaurant and Pub is proud to be a sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit your local 99 and try their famous colossal lobster rolls, piled high on grilled brioche and served hot buttered or with just the right amount of mayo and celery with fries and coleslaw. The 99, always the real deal. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
4-5-6 due up for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as we welcome you back inside Judy Walden Scarefile Field at McKeon Park. Christian Moore, Nolan Shanuel, Rocco Pepe due up as the Hawks look to crack Ben Hampton here. They did have a single by Mitch Jebb in the bottom of the first, but unfortunately Jebb was then caught between first and second and picked off.
You know, we talk so much about the adjustment to the wood bats, and Christian Moore, 2 for 6 already in his young Cape League career with a triple on his resume. And, hey, to start off on the Cape batting 300 really does say something.
Moore, somebody who we saw at second base against Bourne, in left field in Game 1, now in right field for Game 2, as that's called a strike. He's behind 0-2.
And Moore at Tennessee, you saw him pretty much in the platoon spot, getting the starts against lefties. So this is something he's very comfortable with.
Breaking ball misses at the feet of Moore, and it's 1-2.
That roster just so talented at Tennessee that, you know, it's hard to get at-bats as a true freshman. But in 100-plus at-bats, you saw 10 homers, I think 14 extra base hits. You saw the triple earlier today.
Chops that one down the third baseline. Going to be a tough play for the lefty Hampton, and he will, in fact, let it go foul as Moore's speed. He would have likely beat that one out, so he'll have to come all the way back to the plate and do it again. And we talked to Christian in the booth a couple days ago, and he really talked about a guy named Jordan Beck, who's going to be a top pick, helping him throughout the year. They hit a lot of late nights together at the field, a lot of late-night batting practice sessions, and you can see it in his approach to the game, right? He's here to work. He's here to work hard, and somebody who's just ready to go, but wants to win too, which is part of this team. Is you have a guy like Christian who could come in here and who could just focus on getting himself better, but instead he's here to help this team win and, of course, you know, work on his own skills, but the team has come first in his mind as well. Here's the 1-2, fouled off.
I mean, I've worked around summer ball. You've worked around summer ball. Nick, you've been in summer ball. We've all seen those teams, really talented group of guys that sometimes are out there, and a lot of them are just there to really boost their own stock. They don't care, you know, if the team loses 20 games, if they homer in each of the 20 games. But this team has bonded from the jump, and they are here to win, which really, especially when you have as short a season as the Cape League does, really does speak a lot to the volumes of the characters that are on this roster.
Yeah, it's a great group of kids.
The 2-2, pop foul again. We'll have to keep battling as Christian Moore is not going down easily.
And it is super important. I mean, you're here 44 games. The first time you're playing, 6 days a week for these guys. A lot of these guys are dealing with struggle for the first time in their careers. I mean, these guys have, throughout their life, been, the 2, 3, 4 hitters, always been the all-star. So now you've got to combat kids who are slumping for the first time.
That one's hit on the ground to third. Backhanded there by Herrera. The throw across the diamonds in time. A fine play by the Chatham third baseman for the first out.
Some guys are going to be playing positions they haven't played at school, probably not their first position they want to be playing, and inevitably you're going to be homesick. So if that team can mesh, get together well, it is so important for the longevity of kids wanting to stay up here, the guys buying into winning, because as you guys mentioned, a lot of teams it's like, yeah, if I do well, whatever. If the team loses,
right.
They lose.
Called strike to Shanuel, who steps in for the first time today.
But, we've lost a couple of heartbreakers, and it wasn't like guys walking out the field like, ho-hum, whatever, I did well. They were angry.
They want to come back tomorrow. They're just ready for the next game, it seems.
Which, honestly, in today's, summer ball world is rare.
Here's the 0-2 to Nolan Shanuel. He hits that one on the ground to first. Backhanded there. The flip by Grice on to Hampton is in time. Nice job by the pitcher getting over and covering for the second out. It's not an easy play to make, especially for the pitcher to get over, win the foot race, and maintain stepping on the bag while trying to grab the ball. We see that's one of the toughest plays, and we saw it get a little bit blundered in Game 1 on a flip by Justin Hyannis, and you're going to see that throughout the league. These guys are new teammates to each other. Communication is going to take some time to develop throughout the year.
Which is why we've seen all across the league as Rocco Pepe takes a first pitch strike. We try and see, I'm sure Nick can attest to this, teammates from colleges. Of course, 3 Louisiana Tech Bulldogs are here. For Chatham, you got 2 guys from Oklahoma State, 2 guys from Clemson. Having a friend from your college or school roster definitely helps.
1-1 from Hampton as Pepe rips it foul, just way out in front there.
And Zach, you're absolutely right. I mean, I make a ton of calls in the offseason with collegiate coaches when you field these teams, and I would say a majority of them want you to take teammates.
The 1-2 fouled off. Pepe has a teammate here by the name of Zach Volker as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be challenging because you call and you're interested in one player and they're trying to sell you on somebody else, and you have to make kind of those tough decisions. Do you bring that second kid with him for the kid you really want?
The 1-2 to Pepe is on the outside corner, a called strike 3. It's a little bit outside, but it's a call that we've seen consistently made by umpires throughout the league, so Pepe will head back to the dugout, as do the Anglers. They're coming up to bat in the top of the third on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
I'm Drake Toll, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Coca-Cola Bottling of New England. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for over 30 years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. Fairway Financial. Fairway Financial is a proud national sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. If you want to hit a home run with your retirement income plan, visit fairwayfinancial.net and ask for owner and host family sponsor Steve Enzuoni, Cape Cod's retirement income specialist. That's fairwayfinancial.net. Thank you for tuning in to today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
Welcome back for the top of the third inning. Austin Nakuda alongside Zach Berman and the Harbor Hawk general manager Nick Johnson, as we're here for Game 2 of this doubleheader between the Harbor Hawks and the Chatham Anglers, as Jonathan Fincher finishes off his warm-up pitches. But Nick, going back to our conversation to end the last half inning, building this roster can be incredibly difficult because there's so many moving pieces around the college world that end up after the spring. So many things are going to change. So definitely a challenging thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, for a multitude of reasons. One, the way arms are in today's world is if they're a freshman, you take a freshman arm and they make the rotation, forget about it. You're not going to see them. If they hit 50, 60 innings, they are staying home. when you accept and invite kids to your team, with looking at Southern Miss, when we had Hall and Waldrip, both Team USA players now, they were 8th and 9th inning guys for that team.
First pitch misses to Marcus Brown, the shortstop, but for you guys, it seems like this roster has been built to last throughout the summer.
In something we heavily invest in and think about.
Hit on the ground at first. There's Shaniel. He's going to flip on to Fincher, but they're going to actually say it hit off of Marcus Brown in the box as he's limping around. Didn't appear that way originally, but the umpire from behind the plate, Dave Perry, put his hands up, said foul ball, so Brown, who didn't run much, will try to walk it off.
Well, either phenomenal acting or I genuinely do believe it hit his foot.
Yeah, one or the other. There's no in between.
Well, I saw Fincher didn't take off at first, and I was like, well, it's going to be a base hit, but now it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But you really do have to, and the biggest, I'd say, example of that chemistry would be Matulia McConnell out in that same center right field where we've seen opposing teams struggle out in that outfield grass at McKeon Park.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing, too, with both those guys is we look for guys that have versatility in their positions, right? So you see Rocco Pepe at third. Rocco, we recruited as a third baseman. He was a high school shortstop. But because at school they had a third baseman that really didn't have a lot of versatility in the sense positionally as the ball misses away. Rocco was moved to center field, which speaks volumes to his athleticism. It's a very hard place to learn how to play on the fly. So we didn't see that as a negative. As another ball misses away, I'm sorry.
A couple of close calls there on the outside corner. We saw it called a strike, maybe a little bit higher, but for Fincher, that's the first base runner he's allowed after retiring the first 6 in order. But, yeah, Rocco Pepe at third for this game. We've seen him in the outfield, Nick, as we talked about. He started the season off with a bang, a solo home run against the Wareham Gatemen, but now his defense has been what shined the last couple of games throughout the offensive slump a bit.
Yeah, it's been a tough spot for Rocco in the sense that he's been in and out of lineups, I think playing matchups. And for a guy that starts every single night, I mean, that's hard to get used to. I mean, when you're struggling offensively.
First pitch misses low to Adonis Herrera, the third baseman.
The one thing that's going to get you through that is at-bats.
Right.
So if you're not getting consistent ABs, it is hard to push through that. So, I mean, I thought he put a great swing on a ball the other night with the bases loaded. I think it was his second at-bat where he had pinch hit. But, yeah, you have to find it again. It's credit him for, fighting and persevering. It's been a tough spot as that called strike on the inside corner.
I mean, every player that comes out to Cape Cod is out here for a reason. And all of these guys, some of them might struggle, some of them might not. All of them are capable of getting back on the horse.
Absolutely.
Here's Adonis Herrera, as we mentioned. He's in the game for the starting lineup for Game 2. He pinch hit in Game 1 and struck out. Only one plate appearance there. As that one's hit on the ground to short. It's by Mitch Jebb into left center field. Brown's going to go first to third. Matulia's throw is heading to third, but it's cut off by Mitch. And they have Herrera hung up between first and second. The throw is in time. They get Herrera at second. The throw came from left to Mitch Jebb, who threw it to Shanuel, who threw it to Riku as the ball zips around the infield. And we're going to take another look at that one on the base hit.
I want to talk about that play by Mitch Jebb because that ball coming from Matulia was not intended for him. That was going towards Rocco Pepe. And we've talked about Mitch Jebb's baseball IQ. The thought to even cut that off, not even knowing if there was going to be a play at second. If Mitch Jebb doesn't cut that off, that ball could be headed towards the dugout. What a job by Jebb, and that potentially saves an out and a run.
Here's the 9-hitter, Johnny Castagnozzi. He was in the lineup as well in Game 1, was 0 for 2 with a walk, and he also struck out. But now Marcus Brown stands 90 feet away at third.
So usually the third baseman there in Rocco's spot, if he wants the ball to go all the way through, he won't say anything. There's usually a sign. So it would be interesting if Rocco said something to alert him to cut the ball off. That's usually the case. That one's a strike. But it's a interesting play as Mitch makes the error early on, atones for it. Could have been an easy double play ball, but at least you get the runner from advancing to second.
Nolan Shanuel, the first baseman, in on the grass as the rest of the infield plays relatively close to their normal depth. The pitch to Castagnozzi is a swinging strike, and Fincher is ahead 1-2. We'll see where the left-hander goes here. He's utilized the fastball as well as the off-speed to finish hitters so far. 5 punch-outs already for Jonathan Fincher.
Well, Austin, you know where I like to go on these 1-2 counts.
Zach is a big fan of the high fastball, try to get somebody to chase. We'll see or they go to Castagnozzi, the pitch. It is a high fastball, just a bit outside, though, and it will miss 2-2.
Good job by Castagnozzi to hold up. And that's not an easy pitch to hold back from, but...
Well, 1-2 upstairs does a lot of things to you. It changes your eye level, sets up for the off speed either away and, sets up a fastball in. So sometimes it's great if they chase, but also it does set up a sequence for other pitches.
See where he comes back on 2-2. Fouled off the mid of Charlie Taylor. We'll have to do it again. Taylor making his first start, as we mentioned. He hasn't been up to the plate yet, but behind the dish has put on quite the performance, at least calling the game, as it can be pretty difficult for these catchers to learn so many new pitchers so quickly and figure out what their tendencies are, where they like to start batters, and kind of how to call a game. But when you have a guy that's so sharp like Taylor behind the plate, it makes it so much easier. Here's the 2-2. Cut on and missed. Jonathan Fincher has the strikeout pitch working. That's number 6, and we're still in the top of the third.
I mean, come on. The first game that Fincher threw, he only struck out 2. He has tripled that in this one outing. And you have to give so much credit to Charlie Taylor, who just got up here, and it's not very easy for a catcher to look like he's been out on the Cape this whole summer.
And speaking of strikeouts, here comes Jake DeLeo, who went down swinging in his first at-bat, which started the ball game. Here comes the windup and the pitch from Fincher. That one's hit to right field. Long run there. And it's going to get down right to Christian Moore. The run will score. DeLeo's going for second, and he'll slide in safely. It's an RBI double, which brings home Brown, and the Anglers have a 1-0 lead.
That's a good piece of hitting to go to opposite field there. I thought actually Christian Moore made a great play, barehanding the ball, getting it in quickly, but that was double all the way. And, that air looming large right now that was pretty much tailor-made double play ball. Obviously, you can never assume, but hard hit to a very sure-fielded Mitch Jett, who I believe at Michigan State was fielding 95.5%. So that's elite and, a rare miscue.
That'll bring up Nate Nankill, the 2-hitter for the Anglers. Fincher fires the first pitch. Nankill thought about it but held up, and it's going to go to 1-0.
That's a tough break for Fincher. The pitch is down and away, and it was a great job by DeLeo to reach out and get as much on it as he did. Nankill out of Cal State Fullerton put together a .261 average in 40 games played this season with the Titans.
Fincher checks at second a couple of times. Long look, and now he'll bring home the 1-0, which is popped up. Shanuel drifting towards foul territory, puts his hand up to shade the sun and makes the catch to end the inning. So the Anglers do get a run, just 1-0, but Fincher picks up his 6th punch-out as the left-hander from LA Tech is looking good through 3 as we head to the bottom of the third on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
I'm broadcaster Drake Toll, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. I'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Curry College. Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs, NCAA Division III athletics, and continuing education and graduate studies, including 5th-year master's programs at curry.edu. Franklin Sports. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again the proud official batting glove sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. Cape Cod, the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day.
Ben Hampton returns to the mound for his 3rd inning of work as we welcome you back to the booth for our 3rd inning of work. Austin Nakuda, Zach Berman, Nick Johnson here with you for Game 2 as we are progressing quickly through this one as the Anglers hold a 1-0 lead. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for the Anglers at this moment, as no runs, 1 hit, and no mistakes for the Hawks on the scoreboard. We'll see if they go back and score that play to Mitch Jebb anything different.
Right now it's being ruled a hit, but Nick, I got to ask you, last time that these Harbor Hawks saw Ben Hampton, they struggled against him. How would you, as a hitter, approach, a big lefty like Ben Hampton?
Sit back and wait. The fastball is 83 to 85. I mean, credit Hampton. He throws strikes. He mixes up the pitches. I mean, from up here, and the last time we saw him, it seems like 2 pitches, so you eliminate the changeup. The variation between the 2 pitches is nice. It's a slower breaking ball, so the fastball plays up. But I think it's really his ability to throw the breaking ball in any count for a strike that makes him hard.
First pitch to Philip Matulia is popped foul as Matulia comes to the plate for the first time today. He was in the lineup in the last couple of days, as including the 2-run home run the other night here at McKeon Park, and I talked to him about that. He said it felt good to get the first one. This is a guy who grinds out a lot of at-bats and plays plus defense, so now the bat's starting to show up for Matulia as he watches a breaking ball, and now he's behind 0-2.
You know, I love his game. I mean, I think he's really going to get going, but I think where the viewers don't really get to see how important he is in that clubhouse, in the dugout. You know, a natural leader, a guy who gets the guys going.
Pitch misses outside, 1-2, and you can see that in batting practice too. Matulia is the guy that they all kind of huddle around the cage, try to talk to him about the approach, and you'll see it in the dugout. He can rally the troops when needed and really spark something for this team as the 1-2 misses outside.
He's I mean, I don't know if you guys got to watch a lot of La Tech games. You know, the baseball operations team, we watch a lot of them as we follow the guys, you know, during their spring. He is beloved down there at the Love Shack, which is what they call their stadium.
Called strike 3 on the breaking pitch. Down goes Matulia. We'll get more on him later, Nick, and I know we have some T-shirts to talk about when he comes back to the plate.
They call their stadium the Love Shack?
It is. It's called affectionately known as the Love Shack.
Like the song from the B-52s, the Love Shack?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's quite the place to have to pitch at.
No, it's rowdy. It seems like the fan base is awesome. The guys all talk about how much they love playing there.
Here comes a man who was a part of another team with a rowdy fan base and an energetic squad. That's Charlie Taylor, the catcher from Tennessee, making his first start today for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Recently activated. He's quickly behind 0-1 and now 0-2. But Taylor, part of a Tennessee team that made national headlines for their energy, the way they played the game. And I know we're excited to have a couple of Vols on the roster now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a job Tony Vitello's done with that ball club.
Another breaking ball, another strikeout looking. That's 3 straight backwards Ks recorded by Ben Hampton, as now there's 2 down.
Well, I can tell you who typically won't strike out looking. That would be Riku Nishida, the number 9 hitter.
Yeah, Riku Nishida, known as one of the toughest outs on the Cape, maybe the toughest out in the Harbor Hawk lineup. He went 1 for 2 in Game 1, a single, a walk, also stole a base and scored a run. Batting in the 9 hole for Riku once again. We saw him early on in the year in the leadoff spot, but Nick, at the 9 hole, Riku's a guy who is almost like a double leadoff in some scenarios as he smacks that one back up the middle. And Riku, who doesn't swing on the first pitch a ton, does so there and gets on with a 2-out single.
Well, he must have seen something he liked, and now you like this scenario because we saw the Harbor Hawks give Chatham fits on the base paths in Game 1, and Riku can be such a huge part of that. So you have Nishida who can run. Of course, you don't want to record the last out on the base pass, but if he sees something he likes, of course, he stole 53 bags at Mount Hood Community College this past season. Would love to see him go for it, and Mitch Jebb, who already has a single to his ledger today.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have no issue if he gets thrown out here to end the inning. I mean, you have your leadoff guy up right here. You want to get him in scoring position for Jebb, a contact player.
Riku was picked off at first in Game 1, but also did successfully steal a base. That one misses low to Jebb, and Nishida is getting comfortable on the Cape. You know, he had a year at Mount Hood, and you guys recruited him because he dominated at that level, and he said the Cape is hard, is what he told us. So still getting adjusted, but somebody, that one smacked to left by Jebb, going to go foul. Somebody that I know you guys are very high on in the front office in Riku Nishida.
Well, I think he had 2 years, so he has 2 years at Mount Hood, right? And for me, I go, well, what is the level of caliber of play over there? But he goes to the West Coast Collegiate League, a league that I value and think turns out a ton of good players.
Called strike to Jebb. He's behind 1-2.
And I think he bats something like 370 there with like 30 bags, and you're like, okay, well, that's your answer to, like, can he handle velocity? Can he handle elite arms? You see a lot of Pac-12 kids, West Coast Conference kids up in that league. So we felt comfortable that he would come up here and be effective. Had a great season again for Mount Hood.
As he goes, they got him picked off to throw to second as Nishida's in a pickle, being run down by Marcus Brown, who slaps the tag on him. And unfortunately, Nishida gets picked off on the bases. But the good news, when we get to the bottom of the 4th, it'll be the top of the order due up for the Hawks. So not the worst case scenario there for Hyannis, but we do head over to our sideline reporter, Bria Losick, who's standing by with a familiar face.
alongside Wes Burton here, and we are celebrating a very special birthday today at McKeon Park. Pitching coach Ray Korn is turning 76 years young. I talked with BJ Johnson, another coach who has been with Ray Korn for a long time, and he said that Coach Korn is a pitching guru and that he communicates with players exceptionally well. Wes, you've known Coach Korn for about 2 weeks now. What have you learned from him in your time here?
I think the biggest on-field thing has just been kind of the game planning and the game within the game, how to approach different hitters and how to read swings and stuff like that. As far as off the field, though, Ray is he's an awesome guy to just have around and knows how to keep the vibes light in the bullpen. So that's been another thing about having Ray around that I've really enjoyed.
Thanks, Wes. Happy birthday, Coach Korn.
Thank you very much, Bria and Wes Burton. A very special day at the ballpark as Coach Korn, the pitching coach, celebrates his 76th birthday. And Coach Korn, a guy who was here in Hyannis last year and has been carried over. But, Nick, you talk to every single pitcher on this team, and they talk so much about how Coach Korn has helped them with either their mechanics, something in their delivery that he has helped them adjust and tweak and given them success.
Yeah, I mean, just echoing the same sentiment. Down in the bullpen every day, the guys say that just sometimes it's these very subtle changes, nuances with the grips or a little bit of their release angle. But the proof's in the pudding this year. You've seen some guys who didn't have the best springs out to electric starts. So far, so good, and obviously a very long, successful career for Coach Korn. So this is nothing new.
Well, a happy birthday from our broadcast booth as a whole to Coach Korn.
Here's Travinsky, watches a called strike. Hayden Travinsky, relatively new to Cape Cod. He made his debut on the 25th against Brewster, a 2-hit performance with 2 doubles and 2 runs batted in. So he hits that one to shallow left center field. That'll get down for a base hit. So Travinsky wastes no time going after Fincher, and the leadoff man is aboard for the A's.
That's something this year you saw a lot with Fincher. I think if you were to have a motto for him, it was like, bend, don't break. He'll give up the base hit. He limited the home runs, knock on wood. But it was, there was a lot of traffic this year for him. But he's a crafty lefty that knows how to pitch out of these situations, comfortable throwing from the stretch.
That'll bring up Chuck Ingram, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking. That one misses for a ball. Taylor grabs it and watches Travinsky back to first base.
Really been impressed with what we've seen from Charlie Taylor behind the plate early. I know I mentioned he looks like he's been out here behind the dish for much longer than he has, but it's really encouraging to see a guy come out here and adjust behind the plate that quickly.
Ingram, the left fielder, skies that one to right field where Christian Moore retreats back to the warning track and makes the catch for a big out number 1. And that'll send Travinsky back to first.
And credit Moore there. He DH'd the majority of the season at Tennessee, so he can play second base, he can play corner outfield, but he hasn't played a lot of either. So right now you're contending with the sun, a new spot in this outfield as he's getting used to McKeon Park and all the angles, etc. So credit him for making a big play as that ball took him to the track.
That'll bring up Dominic Temez with 1 away and 1 on here, and that's a quick called strike by Fincher. No hesitation by Dave Perry to call that one a strike.
Temez, a nice season at Alabama last year, but a guy that's got 3 years of SEC experience and
some Cape experience under his belt as he's a returner.
A lot of returners in this Chatham team, a group of Cape League vets, so to speak.
Yeah, one fouled off. Quickly, Fincher ahead, 0-2.
So the league has this thing, right? So you have I don't even know what the official title is for it, but you can save players for next year, right? So you can mark these guys, and you have till July to offer them a contract. And I think they had 15 or 17. So that even in the off season, that was the game plan to bring a lot of those guys back.
As Temez goes opposite field and singles through the right side, first and second now with 1 out, and it's part of the game plan for Tom Holliday over there is lean on his returners. We saw it with Caden Grice in the middle of the lineup, and now Temez. And these guys, I feel like it takes a little bit longer for new guys to get adjusted from the metal to wood, obviously. But even for some of the returners, it takes a little bit to get going, too.
Oh, absolutely. And, it is interesting. I think most years you'll see on a roster 1 or 2 returners. It's a league with almost 100% turnover, and the reason for that being most of your sophomores are going to get drafted.
Here's another returner in the form of Caden Grice, although his stint with Chatham was brief last summer, just 9 games as he went off, I believe, to Team USA. As he returns here for his second summer in the blue.
And yeah, and it's interesting because you're seeing the league change in front of your eyes with the draft being pushed back to late July. You know, it used to be early June, so you wouldn't see any juniors really.
Such a tough thing as that one's popped up left side. Rocco Pepe running back, as so is Jeb. Going to be a tough play, but it's Mitch Jeb, the shortstop, who makes an athletic catch, and that was where Mitch Jeb will prove dividends, as he not only can do it with the bat, but in the field with the range over there by the shortstop.
There's that baseball IQ, like you mentioned, Nick. Just the forethought to get out there down the line and track that ball down. Another really solid play by Jeb, who he's impressed.
That'll bring up Marcus Brown with 2 out and 2 on here for the Chatham Anglers. Brown moved down a bit in the lineup. He's their everyday shortstop and a guy who is impressed. And a couple times we've played the Chatham Anglers, he's been up to the plate once here in Game 2, walked and came around to score the only run as he's way ahead on a breaking pitch, 0-1.
And Zach, to hit on a note you had talked about earlier, it is impressive, you know, albeit a couple of innings now for Charlie, but a guy who hadn't gotten into a ton of games. I thought he's been handling Fincher really well, blocking balls down in the dirt really well, and that's something, you know, the coaching staff is keeping an eye on, knowing he hasn't had a ton of innings at school.
Long pause from Fincher. Here's the 0-1. Another breaking pitch is going to hit off of Fincher. Jeb's going to have to hustle to the ball. They're going to wave the runner home, and unfortunately, it's going to score a run in one of the oddest plays you'll see, as a ground ball hit off the pitcher Fincher and squirted into left field, which makes it a 2-0 lead for the Chatham Anglers.
Yeah, bad luck, really. Fincher tried just knocking the ball down, took a bad deflection that got in between Pepe and Jeb, squirting into left field, allowing the base runner to score easily. You know, credit Chatham, though, putting a lot of balls in play after whiffing early on. They've made the adjustment second time through for sure.
5 of the first 6 Chatham batters went down on strikes. Since then, just 1. That'll bring up Adonis Herrera, who singled but was thrown out trying to stretch the single into a double. That was only back in the bottom of the third, so not too far, or top of the third, that is, not too far ago. Here's the first pitch. The Herrera called strike. Is Fincher back in the zone? It's so important to steal that first strike after allowing an RBI single.
Really shows, you know, the level of competitiveness that Fincher has. You know, some guys will let that rattle them. You give up a tough luck run, but not Fincher. Goes right back, attacks the zone immediately. That says a lot.
Herrera 4 for 20 on the year with 1 run batted in. Slow start for him as that one's hit on the ground to Mitch Jeb. He'll go the short way to second to end the inning, so the A's do squeak across another run to make it 2-0. Hawks coming up to bat with the top of the order due up. It's Mitch Jeb. Stay tuned on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
T-Mobile is committed to serve those who serve.
I'm Sideline reporter Bria Losick, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Cape Cod 5 Cent Saving Bank. Cape Cod 5 is proud to be a long-standing supporter of the Cape Cod Baseball League and its contribution to the local economy as a treasured summer attraction. Cape Cod 5 is a community bank serving customers throughout Cape Cod, the islands, and southeastern Massachusetts. Founded in 1855, the bank's mission is to enrich the lives of those it serves while contributing to the health and vitality of its communities. Cape Cod 5 provides a full range of banking solutions, including personal and business banking, residential mortgages, investment management, and trust services, and Coca-Cola Bottling of New England. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. Thank you for tuning in to today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
Welcome back on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. Austin Nakuda, Zach Berman, and Harbor Hawks General Manager Nick Johnson welcoming you back as the Hawks trail the Anglers 2-0. It's been a solid start to the year for the Hawks at 6-5-2 now after their winning Game 1, and that is a major sign of improvement as it's been 4 straight games without a loss for Hyannis. And Nick, after a couple of games early in the season where they were walked off, you know, had their hearts broken, I think it says a lot about this team as they have bounced back incredibly strong.
You know, it has been very impressive because, I mean, they were heartbreaking. I mean,
it doesn't get tougher.
The Flores come from behind, 2-strike, 2-out home run to then lose that ball game was I'm not sure I'm actually over it yet.
Jeb will drop a first pitch bunt down as it's fielded by Hampton. He spins and throws Mitch out. 1 pitch, 1 out on the bunt.
Well, I'll have y'all know something. After that game, I got a haircut the next morning, and since that point, the Hawks have not lost a game.
Fair point. That's hopefully that streak continues there, Zach Berman.
I would hope so, but that game, I keep on going back to it in my mind. Maybe it's not just because I called it, but also that's the kind of game that you lose, but at the same time, maybe it can be the kind of loss that, you know, it's a cold splash of water in the face. It can get the guys to snap into place, and since that point, the bats have just been electric more often than they haven't been.
Flores watches a called strike. Aside from last night's 1-1 tie in Bourne, the Hawks' offense has exploded in the recent couple of games.
Well, to come out of last night with a tie after the situation Jay Driver had put himself in.
Here's the 0-1. That one's hit weakly back to the mound. Bobbled there by Hampton. He's going to have to rush the throw and does so in time to get Flores. So Hampton's defense being tested here in the bottom of the fourth, back-to-back 1-3 putouts. And Jay Driver, one of the best relief arms on the team here in Hyannis. He's had a couple of bad luck outings in his last two.
And that's exactly how I would describe last night. You led off the inning with a broken bat single, pass ball.
First pitch to Hyannis. He thought about going around but didn't. But Jay Driver, as you mentioned, broken bat, pass ball. But he still bears down, gets 3 strikeouts, which is huge. That says something about the guy.
Speaking of a guy bearing down, the man on the bump is not Ben Hampton, but in fact Nicholas Regalado, who has started at the top of the bottom of the third inning out of Florida Southwestern. So he's the guy that's retired the first 2 outs.
Well,
he came into this one.
They're not twins, but they look absolutely identical. They have the same pitch speed.
Same makeup.
Same pitch speed, same delivery.
Had you not said anything, I would never have known.
Nope. The 0-2 to Hyannis, called strike 3. A quick inning for Regalado out of the bullpen as the Hawks go down 1-2-3. We'll pick back up in the top of the 5th on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. I'm broadcaster Austin Dakuda, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including the Yawkey Foundation. Tom and Gene Yawkey were passionate about the game of baseball. Over their 7 decades as owners of the Boston Red Sox, the Yawkeys greatly invested in youth and amateur athletics in our community. They recognize the important skills baseball can bring to players both on and off the field: cooperation, respect, teamwork, friendships, and confidence. The Yawkey Foundation has been proud to support the Cape League for more than 25 years. The Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau is partnering with the Cape Cod Baseball League this year to help you find a trusted business at bbb.org. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk. Back here for the 5th inning, and funny story.
Yeah.
So our pal, Ben Hampton, in fact, was still on the mound. So I guess what happened is Hampton's wearing number 50 today.
Point streak had him as Regalado.
Our official stat tracker had it as Regalado, but it's indeed still Hampton. And now on the mound is Zach Volker, the right-hander, out of Long Beach State, somebody who's made a couple of appearances so far for the Hawks and has been pretty effective in both those outings, and I know somebody the coaches are pretty happy with.
Yeah, guy's got a nice 4-pitch mix, and the thing that I've been impressed with is his usage of those pitches. I mean, sometimes you have and you hear guys, oh, he throws 4 pitches, but he uses all 4 of them quite often, has great tempo when he works. Guy who started prominently back at Long Beach State later in the season, moved into the bullpen. And the interesting story about Volker is he went to Delta Community College in California, and for 2 seasons they could not play due to COVID. So, you know, this year at Long Beach State, he officially year-wise is a junior, but pitching for the first time collegiately, which is kind of wild.
It's so tough on these guys, especially pitchers. How do you possibly stay fresh during those 2 years of COVID, where you're lucky if you can find somebody in your neighborhood that can catch bullpens for you when you're locked down? And so many guys just go out in the backyard and throw off a fence or something, or a pitchback machine.
Jay Driver.
Jay Driver, same thing.
The Ivies didn't play during COVID.
A little more on Zach Volker before we begin the top of the 5th. He's appeared in 7 innings so far, 3 separate games, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits, no earned runs. He's been brilliant to this point, as the throw down by Taylor is another strike, and we'll have to deal with the 9-1-2 hitters for the Anglers. Johnny Castagnozzi, Jake DeLeo, and Nate Nankill due up to face Volker.
I mean, Nick, what has impressed you the most about this bullpen, which almost seems to consistently, night in, night out, either keep leads or keep teams in games?
Ability to throw strikes. I mean, I think that's just so important. We've had a couple of guys, really that one game where we walked 10 guys. Out of that, it's just been their ability to get ahead, which is just so valuable. When you don't have to pitch out of the stretch and you get ahead of these batters, you can really do what you want to do, execute your game plan.
First pitch by Volker is a breaking ball that gets Castagnozzi way out in front, 0-1.
I think really credit Kevin Ohm. He's done a great job of coming in and building up the success of these guys. I mean, all 4 pitchers on staff, or excuse me, coaches on staff for Hyannis come from pitching backgrounds.
Here's the windup and the 0-1 from Volker. Another called strike, and the right-hander working quickly and ahead in the count.
And I don't know if you guys, talked about this on air already, and excuse me if you have, but, Kevin did make the big leagues. He got to pitch a scoreless inning. He got an at-bat as a reliever in the NL, singled. So when he never got a chance to go back in the big, so he had a 0 ERA and 1,000 batting average.
Down goes the leadoff man Castagnozzi of the inning, and we'll be back to the top of the order, but he's got to be able, Kevin has to be able to give these guys some valued advice, to help them not only here in Hyannis, but work towards taking the next step in their baseball career.
Absolutely. He's a quiet, presence. He's not a very loud guy. He's not a raw guy, but I think a lot of guys are attracted to that. He's very hands-on. He watches all their pens, very slight adjustments to grips, arm angles, suggestions on maybe pitch sequencing, which I think not enough coaches talk about.
That one misses to Jake DeLeo. So between Kevin Ohm and Ray Korn, you have 2 of the top pitching coaches in the league right now.
And, Eric is a Cape League Hall of Famer with tons of years in the minor leagues as well. So, and Pablo Ortiz pitched at Little Rock, Arkansas.
Called strike 1-1. Well, Eric Beatty, a Cape League Hall of Famer, somebody who has the 2nd lowest ERA in Cape League history in a season. So it makes sense to see the pitching here in Hyannis be at such an elite level.
And it's something we recruited heavily on this offseason, was just the ability to throw strikes.
There's the 1-1 misses outside. Count moves to 2-1.
Well, Nick, this is your first season as a GM, and what exactly did you look for? I mean, we've talked about players, versatility, the ability to throw strikes, but looking for a coaching staff as your first year as a GM, what did you look for in terms of the kind of guys you wanted, what they were teaching?
Here's the 2-1 and called strike.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this was a very unique offseason with Coach Calhoun stepping down 2 months before the season started. Eric was to be a 2.0 pitching coach, if you will, with Ray Korn. That's kind of what they're doing with Kevin and Ray right now. And Dan Johnson and I felt in the offseason.
The 2-2 popped up. He'll get out of play.
That instead of opening up, a nationwide search, it was only 2 months. Eric was on staff already. He was a finalist for the Bourne job. Had Cape League experience, which we really valued because you can relate to the kids having to be away from home, pitching against these guys. He also was a temp, earned his way, became a Hall of Famer, so you can talk to all the temp players.
Cut on and miss as Volker gets a strikeout. Back-to-back punch-outs by the right-hander out of the pen, and there's quickly 2 down.
That is a beautiful breaking ball from Volker. We've already seen that a few times this season. 84 miles an hour, has a lot of movement low, and a guy like DeLeo just didn't really have anything to do with it, but just hack at it in the dirt.
I think it goes back to just sequencing, setting up that pitch with the fastball before it, sets up the slider down and in, and I think that's one of the things I've been really impressed about with this staff has really been the pitch selection.
Big swing and a miss by Nankill, who's 0 for 2.
I think last night you watched Ty Good, right?
Yep.
Ty Good, a guy who last night velocity-wise probably wouldn't have been euphoric with it. It was kind of 86, 89. But he was quite often going change, fastball, and off his changeup, his fastball looks 95, even though it's 88.
It's a difference in pitches. That one's lined to right center field there by Nankill. It's going to get to the gap. Matulia will cut it off before it gets to the wall, but Nankill's thinking too, and he'll do so safely as the throw made it closer than we thought originally, as he didn't even slide in, but he's up standing with a 2-out double. And Ty Good last night was Ty Great once again. I mean, he has been sensational. His first start comes against Orleans, and we're sitting here, great view of home plate, as you can see on the camera. This is almost identical to our view in the booth. And he is pumping in 12-6 curveball after 12-6 curveball, consistently. Coach Johnson talked to us before the game, said watch out for the 12-6, and I mean, he might have the best 12-6 I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely old school. Like, you watch, baseball from the 50s and 60s. They had that same kind of old school Uncle Charlie, if you will.
Yep.
But, what impressed me with Ty was his changeup, honestly, because we knew we had the breaking ball. But his ability to throw the changeup at any count made that breaking ball so much more effective because you couldn't just sit on it, make it like kind of a two-pitch guy. You had to respect the changeup. And last night, I think my favorite sequence of the entire season is you saw him go change, change, change as that ball misses up and away. Fastball up, change the eye level, strikes him out with the breaking ball. And that's all just really smart baseball, just using your fastball, if even the velocity isn't kind of where the scouts maybe wanted to see it at 91, 93, but using it effectively to change eye levels, setting up pitches. Like that pitch was never meant to be a strikeout pitch, but it sets up his best pitch. And that's the stuff that's just really impressed me with these guys.
You can tell as that one misses low, 2-1, that the coaching staff has kind of helped get that in the players' mind, developing all their pitches, throwing them in different counts. And that's part of the reason this pitching staff has the third lowest whip in the league, the fourth lowest batting average against, and ERA-wise as a staff, they're sitting fifth as well. So this pitching staff is right there on the brink of taking over. As that one's chopped to third. Pepe's going to play it on a hot bare hand. The throw to first is
how about that?
In time. How about Rocco Pepe, an all-around athlete, shining over at the hot corner to end the inning as the Anglers strand a man in scoring position. A good inning by Volker. We'll come back for the bottom of the fifth in just a moment on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
I'm Zach Berman, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Mosquito Mary's. The Cape Cod Baseball League would like to welcome our new sponsor, Mosquito Mary's, a locally owned, family-operated business that provides all-natural mosquito and tick control services. Call 866-ASK-MARY or go to mosquitomarys.com. Mention the Cape Cod Baseball League and get your first treatment for only $29. We would also like to thank 99 Restaurants. The 99 Restaurant and Pub is proud to be a sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit your local 99 and try their famous colossal lobster rolls, piled high on grilled brioche and served hot buttered or with just the right amount of mayo and celery with fries and coleslaw. The 99, always the real deal. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
Welcome back for the bottom of the fifth inning from the Judy Walden Scarefile Field at McKeon Park. Austin Nakuda, Nick Johnson, and Zach Berman, the trio in the booth, as our buddy Drake Toll watches from the sidelines, gets himself a nice half day off.
Hey,
Nick?
listen, it's a long summer.
It is.
I've done this. It's the guys have a long summer, but you know what? They get nights off.
We don't.
So you don't. I know. And you know what? As fun of a job it is, it does get tedious talking about baseball for an entire summer. So once in a while you get a night off, recharge, sit with the boys, take in some baseball.
We're all going to be taking our turn off the mic, so myself, Drake, Zach, I'm sure there'll all be a night where somebody else is in our seat. I know Bria Losick, our Sideline reporter, will step in a little bit, so it's nice to have you up here, Nick, with us, as Christian Moore is getting ready to lead us off here in the bottom of the fifth. Moore, Shanuel, Pepe, the trio due up, as Moore is 0 for 1 in this game with a ground out.
You know, I like to joke with people that when I'm not calling baseball, if I'm working Summer League, I like to spend as much time around the game as possible.
First pitch to Moore, called to strike way on the outside corner. I don't know if that's in the zone.
Last summer when I was with Fremont on off nights, I'd go watch the Storm Chasers down at Omaha, AAA for the Royals. When the College World Series was in town, took all of that in.
Moore comes up empty on that one, 0-2. Live and breathe baseball.
And then, of course, first off day of the season out on Cape Cod. Where did I wind up that night? Fenway Park. Why not?
That's what much of the players, I think a lot of these guys, when they get a day off as the 0-2's on its way, that one misses low, they're kind of doing anything but baseball on times because it's such a grind being down here, right? Early morning practices, long game days, weightlifting sessions, everything. And when they finally get that off day, as the 1-2 is on its way, that one's lined to left center field by Christian Moore, and he's going to lead off the inning with a single at the least. He's out of the box, takes a wide turn at first, but will retreat. And there safely for Moore. But when they finally get an off day, we talked with the crews, we get another look at the Moore single. A bunch of these guys went fishing the other day with Coach Beatty. It speaks to the chemistry of this team. They came away, I think the number was 86 fish fillets they came away with. So they had quite the day out, and that, I think, helps build team chemistry, not only within the team, but within the coaching staff as well.
And it's something I talk to the guys a lot about is you're here to play baseball, but enjoy Cape Cod. This place is super special.
Shanuel back-to-back singles as Nolan's out in front on that one. And the Hawks, after just 2 hits through the first couple of innings here, back-to-back singles, and they may have something brewing in the bottom of the fifth.
Just a quick note on Christian Moore. We've said so much how tough it is for guys to adjust to the wood bats. Christian Moore hitting his first 3 games on Cape Cod.
What a start by Moore, and Shanuel's bat starting to come around. Somebody that this team is very high on as somebody who can probably bat in the middle of the order.
And would you love to see anybody else but Rocco Pepe break out of his slump right here?
Here is Pepe in the right-handed batter's box as the pitch will not happen as he steps off the mound and looks back the runner to second.
Well, the one thing I will say is I do shy away from recruiting freshman bats. It scares me. This league is very tough to the most polished hitters in the league. In our limited action with Christian.
Called strike. That's an interesting pitch there on the inside corner, also very low. But Christian Moore, freshman, young guy, but, I mean, somebody that's really exciting. You know,
he had a little bit of strikeout, but he also played in, arguably the best conference in the country. But in that at-bat, what you saw is, a ball off the plate called a strike, swings through the next pitch, but he makes that adjustment.
Pepe hits that one on the ground to third, takes a bad hop, and it's by Herrera. They're going to wave home Moore. The throw from left field is cut off, and Moore is going to score.
Well, there's a lot to dissect right there.
Oh, man.
Because if there wasn't going to be an interference called at third base, I was about to jump headfirst out of the broadcast booth to have words with somebody because very clearly got in the way of the runner, clear obstruction.
And that's why Beatty waved him home. He's going to wave him home anyway because if he's out at the plate, they then go back, talk about that obstruction call.
It will, yeah, you never know if it goes the way you hope.
Yeah,
but
you
I
hope
mean,
so.
it was as
well,
clear
thankfully,
as
we don't even have to have that.
No.
But not only that, the throw is cut off, and I think the throw may have had a shot at getting there as there's going to be a mound visit here from Chatham.
We haven't seen anybody throw. That's the first bullpen pitch we've seen thrown out of the Chatham bullpen, but really up until that point, I'm not sure how they're going to rule that. It looks like it's going to be. Are they going to call that an RBI single?
We'll call it an error by the third baseman.
An E5.
Yep.
So,
I mean, it's a really, really tough error in my opinion, only because the ball exploded on him last second. It looked like it was going to be routine, possibly a double play. Took a bad hop. I think we've seen that a lot at McKeon in honestly the Harbor Hawks way most of the time. As you've seen in the outfield, a lot of balls have gotten away from outfielders. But that's, in my opinion, a very tough error to give the third baseman as that ball blew up. Didn't leave him a lot of time to make a play or make an adjustment. But regardless, Hyannis will take it any way they can.
The Anglers' mound visit concludes as Dennis Cook, the pitching coach, retreats to the dugout. Cook, another former major leaguer coaching up here in the Cape, and somebody that has 15 years of big league experience under his belt. Former big leaguers all around.
Hey, we were talking about Jared Saltalamacchia last night.
Do you guys bunt here?
It's an interesting call, but yeah, I think you do.
I mean, time is called as a ball thrown from the Chatham bullpen comes all the way down behind home plate.
I think you do bunt Phil here because you're in a nobody out, right? Tying run could move up 90 feet to third on the bunt, and Matulia can bunt really well.
Well, and you saw it the other night.
Here it is. Here's the bunt by Matulia. It's a good one, too. Back there to Hampton. He throws to first, gets Matulia out, but
Picture
a beauty
perfect.
of a bunt. Moves up runners to second and third with just one out still.
Yeah, we didn't get to hear Zach, in my opinion, before that happened. But, yeah, I agree it's the right move. You saw Phil the other night not get the bunt down. But right there, getting it down. And I think as Coach Beatty continues to coach in this league, you see how much small ball, as much as major league, minor league balls moved away from it, it is just so pertinent up here to have everyone in your lineup be able to get a bunt down because a lot of these games can be decided by one run.
First pitch called strike. You have to be able to bunt because how often, it's not often, do we see 3 hits strung together?
Not
it just
often.
doesn't happen out here, especially extra base hits. And to hit on that, Wareham had 12 hits here the other night at
All
McKean.
singles.
All were singles, and they just walked away with 4 runs. So you have to be able to play small ball because you're just not going to get that many extra base hits in a row as Taylor fouls it off. But a big spot for the new kid to be in, huh? How about this? Second and third, 1 out, down 1.
Just want to get it through the infield.
Well, you just want to get it down. They're playing back right now, so a ground ball should get you a run. You take note of this. Charlie has seen 5 consecutive breaking balls in his 2 at-bats so far, so it looks like they're just going to say, show me you can hit it at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Chatham's done bringing the infield in, as they did that twice in the first game, and it was a bloop over their head and a line drive at your second baseman that took a hop and nearly broke a tooth, but fortunately for them, they are okay. Here's the 0-2, and down goes Charlie Taylor on another breaking pitch. The new Tennessee catcher comes up empty, but here with 2 outs, still 2 on, and you have a good man up to the plate who can grind out at-bats in the form of Riku Nishida.
Well, just to continue what you said, the Hawks scored 7 runs in this first game, no home runs. And it's big to show that you can drop a 7 spot on one of the better pitchers on Cape without hitting the ball over the fence. But at the same time, you don't want to have 12 singles like Wareham. You need those extra base hits to come in big spots. Justin Hyannis had the big extra base hit, but now let's see what they do here with Riku.
Well, interesting note, Riku Nishida is playing with a broken bat.
Called strike. That's an interesting strategy.
So he broke it. I don't know if you heard it at the end of the last game. He broke it, and he told everyone he still feels that the bat has a lot more hits in it. So he's going to go until it shatters.
Well, it had a hit in it in the 3rd inning, so we'll see if it has another hit in it here.
Man.
That's quite the – I mean, he's one of the most special players you get to witness and a special personality. The 0-1, he does not chase. 1-1 the count.
I mean – who else would do that but Riku?
Now, that is coming from Will Schiffman, who's on my baseball operations team. So that is second. I don't know officially, but I don't think he would lie about it.
Riku fouls it off. 1-2 the count with 2 away, 2 men in scoring position. The Hawks have a run home this inning, which trimmed the lead in half. 2-1 Chatham.
Seriously, I got to tell you, the fact that Riku Nishida, this whole 2-strike adjustment, we had never seen. According to Riku, he had never done this before Cape Cod. And his reasoning was, back at Mount Hood, guys only throw 85, 86. So now he has to attack the pitch completely different with 2 strikes. And it's really interesting to see how that approach is grown.
Here's the 1-2. Riku taps it back to the mound. There is Hampton. He flips on first to end the inning. So the Hawks leave a pair stranded. But they do push across a run. 2-1 the score for Chatham. And we're going to send it down to one of our best friends here in the broadcast booth. It's Drake Toll, who is on the sideline.
What's up, you guys? Broadcast is sounding great, coming live from the baseline down here, and I'm with David, who's actually Jackson Emus's host dad. And I'm learning a lot about the hosting situation. And did you know there's actually been a host shortage across the Cape? So folks like David have stepped up in year 1 to host certain players and bring them on to Hyannis. Hyannis is second across the Cape in host beds. Hardly any other teams on the Cape have as many as Hyannis does, and it just shows the great support that the community has brought to this team. Also, I 100% recommend that you guys take a game off at some point, enjoy the view down here. I've got Sam and all kinds of other interns that are doing their stuff. A lot of Harbor Hawk interns hard at work. I know you guys sound great. Hawks are down, so that's not the most fun thing in the world. Thought you could have scored maybe a couple more there in the 5th, but still got 6 outs to go. What do you say we score a few more? It's always a great day to be a Hawk. Drake Toll, Sideline, Hawks.
Thank you very much to our pal Drake Toll for the update from the sideline. Host families an important, if not the most important part of constructing a team, because you can't have players if you don't have beds to put them in. So that's also part of the battle, Nick, when you're building a team. You have all the people around you guys helping figure out who's going to host who.
When I took this job on, I thought it would be a lot of okay, let's build the roster. I did not anticipate how difficult the hosting part was, finding all the host parents. And like you said, if you don't have 30 beds, you do not have a team. Luckily, with the new, president, Dan Johnson, my wife, Courtney Johnson, we put together a good plan, and that we currently have between 36, 38 beds, which I think is the most we've had in a long time.
That is huge.
Very exciting. Also very exciting to see Connor O'Halloran out of Michigan making his season debut.
This kid's 6'2", the left-hander sophomore with a good fastball. Connor O'Halloran recently joined the team, took some time, get through some bullpens, get up in game shape, and now we'll see him looking to preserve the game where it is. You don't want the deficit to grow any further. 2-1. Chatham holds the lead, so O'Halloran will deal with Chuck Ingram, Dominic Temez, and Caden Grice here in the top of the 6th.
Now, Nick, give me a little bit of a scouting report on O'Halloran. I always find it so interesting. Why Connor? What did you see in him that said, this is the guy?
Well, I didn't. I came in October.
That's popped up. Shane was going to go give it a look, but it will drift out of play.
And at that point, Coach Calhoun had invited a handful of players as you start recruiting, believe it or not, now for your next year's season. You can't sign contracts yet, but coaches start talking to GMs, to other coaches in this league. Hey, who are the freshmen we should be watching, etc. Clark Elliott came from Michigan last year, obviously won the batting title, so we had a good thing going with Michigan. Eric Bakich, who just went to Clemson from Michigan, has sent over a handful of names. We'll get more into that after the pitch.
Here's the 0-1 from O'Halloran, fouled back.
And he had a pair of lefties, and obviously Tito Flores, and both lefties, a kid named Logan Wood and O'Halloran, had pitched sparingly their freshman season.
Here's the 0-2 from O'Halloran, a chopper down the third baseline, going to go foul.
Well, surely that Tito Flores, not that great of a ball.
Yeah, right.
No.
He's been scorching hot.
He has been as impressive as it gets.
You mentioned O'Halloran didn't pitch a lot his freshman year, but comes back this season, 2022, throws 92 2/3 innings, 104 strikeouts. That's the big thing to look out for.
Right.
Here's the pitch, misses low,
well,
1-2.
Getting into that, so Connor pitched a lot in the Northwoods last year, and I think when people see the buildups of these teams, it actually, a lot of it isn't predicated upon their spring season. We have to make these decisions prior to the season they just played for a lot of guys, so you have to look at their summer seasons.
Breaking ball, no, won't find the zone 2-2, and that summer season in 2021 with Bismarck of the Northwoods League.
The Bismarck Larks.
2.72 ERA, 43 innings, 45 punch-outs. Good stuff from O'Halloran. Here's the 2-2. That one's flared to right field. Moore's running in. It's going to drop for a single to lead it off.
I actually interviewed with the Bismarck Larks for a play-by-play position before I wound up with the Hawks.
There we go. We're happy to have you.
So, yeah, he was a guy that, talking to the head coach, was going to be kind of, quote, first out of the pen. Hadn't made the rotation, but kind of our first power arm out of the pen, and he flourished. He ended up becoming the Friday night guy. He pitched in a lot of big games. You mentioned at school the strikeout numbers, very impressive. In an era where kids get shut down in 60, 70 innings, you mentioned it, coming up here with over 90 innings pitched. And that really just goes to head coach's philosophy. Eric felt before going to Clemson, and I'm sure he'll carry this over to Clemson, that if you're going to be a weekend starter, you have to throw over 100 innings. So you work with the coaching staff. Connor comes with a strict 30-inning pitch count.
Call it strike, 0-1.
And, hopefully, Eric said, try not to throw him more than 4 innings a week. So whether that's 2 2-inning stints, 1 4-inning stint, however you want to do that, that were kind of the rules. And that's something you have to adhere to up here.
Temez comes up empty. Nice break on that pitch, 0-2.
Really good-looking break on that 0-1. And Temez just completely out of whack. Now, Nick, so many guys in this league come from other summer leagues. How would you say a league like the Northwoods, where you're playing 68 games, as there's I believe that's a balk issue.
But Matt Hogan, the pinch runner, moves up to second now. I didn't quite catch what the move was by O'Halloran.
But just to continue my thought, how does a summer league that maybe plays a lot more than the Cape in terms of the quantity of games, how do you think it prepares guys to come here?
Honestly, it's a great question. I think the quantity of games really just helps them in the sense of, the grind, right? I don't know how much that really helps them, X's and O's baseball-wise. They're going to have to play a ton of games in a short amount of time. The Northwood season is so long that they have a ton of turnover on that roster. In fact, they have a first-half contract and a second-half contract. So it's almost 2 separate seasons, and I would say they would see a bulk of their quote-unquote, full-time roster coming after the first 3 weeks as that pitch misses up. But what I really like about the Northwoods is it's a huge league, so there's a ton of competition ranging from D2, D3, NAIA, along with a lot of good Division I. So a lot of good kids come out of that league. We really comb through that league with a fine tooth, along with the West Coast, the NECBL, as kind of our big three.
Called strike 3. O'Halloran picks up his first punch out in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and it is a big out number 1.
I want to talk about that frame by Charlie Taylor. That pitch low and away. Temez not happy with it, but what a job by Taylor. First game catching on Cape Cod. Really nice job to raise that pitch up and right into the zone.
Bring up Caden Grice, who's 0 for 2 in this game. He did have the big 2-run home run in Game 1 of today's doubleheader. For just tuning in, Austin Dakuta, Zach Berman, Nick Johnson in the booth, as with Connor O'Halloran on the mound, he's ahead now of Grice 0-1.
And Grice really a special talent. I mean, you saw his season last year, probably not the season he wanted to have this year with the strikeouts, but at 6'6", plays an amazing center field. Scouts love the athleticism, and you can understand why.
It reminds me a lot of Cody Bellinger.
I totally see it now that you mention it.
You can absolutely see it.
Runner goes, the 0-1 fouled back right towards the booth into the netting, so the runner over at second, Matt Hogan will have to retreat to that spot.
Yeah, you can see it with that wide but also kind of compact lefty swing. Does remind me a lot of Bellinger.
And the athleticism when he plays center field.
Absolutely.
The ability to play first, his size, his frame, his speed, a little bit of everything kind of really show me a little bit of Cody Bellinger.
If he just can learn to not chase as much out of the zone, you're looking at the ceiling is crazy for this kid.
Yeah. O'Halloran gets the signs from Taylor, comes set, takes a look at Hogan at second. Here's the 0-2. Thought about going around, but held up did Grice. Not a bad pitch to throw on 0-2.
Yeah, great pitch selection there. 0-2 goes with the slider off the plate, knowing Grice has a high chase rate. See if you get away with the ball that's off the zone, and that can kind of sets up that high fastball, elevated fastball we've talked a lot about.
Here's the 1-2 and a called strike 3. He drops in a beautiful breaking pitch as Connor O'Halloran wasting no time, back-to-back punch-outs.
Well, it seemed like Grice was sitting fastball, and once again, there's your pitch sequencing, and that just sets you up for that breaking ball, and Grice was absolutely fooled silly on it.
No, you hit the nail on the head. Here I am saying you set up with that breaking ball away that sets up the high fastball. He doubles up on it. I'm sure Grice is sitting there thinking the same thing. Here comes the high fastball, and yeah, frozen. Great pitch by O'Halloran.
First pitch now to Marcus Brown, misses a bit high at 89 on the fastball. Brown 1 for 1 with a single, an RBI, drew a walk, and scored a run. Busy day for the Oklahoma State shortstop.
I love watching Brown's game. We said it when we watched him in Chatham a couple weeks ago. He has, at least in the field and on the plate, MLB caliber shortstop talent.
Comes up empty there. 1-1 the count evens up. And, of course, he pretty familiar with the Holiday family. Plays over at OK State under Tom Holiday, manager of the Chatham Anglers' son, Josh, the manager over there. And Tom, of course, with decades and decades of coaching experiences, another well-respected coach in this league. And steps off, takes a look back. And
we'll be getting an Oklahoma State player later, Zach Earhard, who has some personal connections to Eric Beatty, as Eric went to the University of Tampa. Zach's older brother plays there. Coach, obviously, a high school.
Nice block by Taylor.
A high school coach down in the Tampa area, played against him for years, is very familiar. He's a 13th round pick by the Red Sox out of high school. Led off or hitting the 2-hole all year for Oklahoma State. Had a little bit of a hamstring issue in the regional, so he's getting some extra time to get healthy. But a July 1 arrival, give or take. Another righty bat for this lineup.
It's hit on the ground towards Nolan Shanel at first. He bobbles it for a second, can't pick it up. The throw to first, not in time. Runner's going home, and he's going to score. The bobble at first, O'Halloran lost track of the runner who was on second. Hogan comes around to score, and a tough break for the Harbor Hawks as the Anglers take back that 2-run lead. It's 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, well, truthfully, there's been quite a few errors at that first base position. That was a slow, really, just to call it bluntly, a routine play. And then really the play at first wasn't going to be close. They thought the third base coach thought it was going to be routine and sent the runner. If you had looked up, you actually had to play at the plate because he was just sending him to send him. But yeah, tough break.
And O'Halloran, who had back-to-back strikeouts, really was that pitch should have got him out of the inning. Would have been, I'm sure, a huge confidence boost for the kid to come in and throw a scoreless frame. Unfortunately now, he'll have to bear down and deal with Adonis Herrera.
I mean, we saw that yesterday with Driver, who had some tough luck, got some ground balls that ended up not resulting in the expected result. But this is going to say a lot about O'Halloran here. You give up a tough luck run. How do you respond?
Here's the 0-1 runner goes. Here's the throw by Taylor to second, is not in time as In there safely is going to be Marcus Brown, as the pitch also missed outside, so the count will go to 1-1 to Herrera.
Yeah, that's just, a really, really bad break for Hyannis. As like you said, it's your first outing on Cape. There's no doubt nerves and jitters involved. You saw the balk. He barreled down, got a couple of big strikeouts, made the pitch he needed and wanted to get out of the inning, and now you have to reset, recalibrate, and go, okay, I have to do this again. Obviously something he's had to do, I'm sure, a million times at school. It's part of baseball.
Especially when you throw over 90 innings, right? Things are going to happen in those 90 innings, and that's one of the things, too, is when you look at the roster and you look at the teams around the Cape, a lot of the guys don't have a ton of innings under their belt, but the ones that do are more battle-tested and ready to deal with adversity on the mound. Here's the 2-1. Herrera comes up empty, 2-2.
It's so much less about what happens as opposed to how you respond after things happen. Like, nobody's going to come out and just throw 80 shutout innings. That's literally impossible.
Nobody's throwing 80 innings on the Cape anyway. But
I'm just talking baseball in general. I mean, look at the majors. Over the course of a major league season, even the best pitchers in the game are going to give up.
Runner goes again. Herrera swings and pops it foul, so Brown will head back to second.
But really, it's just about not letting the mistakes snowball. And so far this season, I mean, we've seen Harbor Hawk hitters or pitchers give up blemishes. I mean, Brody McCullough, not typically a guy that gives up home runs, gave one up earlier today. Didn't let him affect him and ended up still putting the team in position to win anyway.
2-2, 2 away, and a man on second base. O'Halloran comes set. Long pause for the left-hander from Michigan. Here's the pitch. The 2-2 swung on and missed to end the inning. So O'Halloran, 3 strikeouts in the inning, but a run does score after an error. So the Hawks have work to do as we head to the bottom of the 6th.
I'm Zach Berman, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Mosquito Mary's. The Cape Cod Baseball League would like to welcome our new sponsor, Mosquito Mary's, a locally owned, family-operated business that provides all natural mosquito and tick control services. Call 866-ASK-MARY or go to mosquitomarys.com. Mention the Cape Cod Baseball League and get your first treatment for only $29. We would also like to thank 99 Restaurants. The 99 Restaurant and Pub is proud to be a sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit your local 99 and try their famous colossal lobster rolls, piled high on grilled brioche and served hot buttered or with just the right amount of mayo and celery with fries and coleslaw. The 99, always the real deal. Thank you for tuning into today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
Back here for the bottom of the 6th inning, same pitcher on the mound for the Chatham Anglers. Still the left-hander who's had quite the day in Ben Hampton. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts at this point. Hampton's been good today, and unfortunately for the Hawks, they've been really yet to string too many hits together against him, but we'll see if they can do something here with the top of the order due up. Mitch Jebb, Tito Flores, Justin Hyannis due up.
Well, we saw 3 straight guys reach in the last frame for the Hawks, so it's clear that at least some batters have figured out Hampton. There are two guys warming in the bullpen for Chatham, so I wonder how quickly he'll get yanked if a guy or 2 gets on, but we'll see what they can dial up here in the bottom of the 6th.
First pitch to Jebb's going to be a breaking ball in the zone, and he's ahead once again.
My eye right now is on Tito Flores. Comes in with a 10-game hit streak.
See if he can continue that in the next at-bat, but Jebb's going to continue to hit the baseball. That one goes to left center field, and Mitch Jebb does what he does best, and that is get base hits.
This guy is just a spark plug for this team.
Put him at the leadoff spot. Now you have good speed on first, and the tying run coming up to the plate in the form of Tito Flores. Zach, you just mentioned it. 10 straight games with a hit. Mitch Jebb starting his own streak over there on first base. And that's going to prompt another mound visit from Dennis Cook.
Hey, remember how I said they might have a tight leash? Well,
we'll see.
Here you go. But maybe they're trying to avoid the lefty-righty matchup. That's what I assume is the case.
Cook, the pitching coach for the Chatham Anglers, we'll see if he's the guy that's going to make the pitching change. It could be one of those situations trying to buy the bullpen arms some more time.
That's what it looks like.
He could also get back to the dugout, and then Tom Holliday could come out. Or no, they're going to make the change
there goes
instead.
Hampton. So Hampton goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run of the earned variety, 7 strikeouts. Really, what a day for the lefty out of West Virginia. But the runner on first, his responsibility, and it will be...
The right-hander Magnus Ellerts is going to get the call from the bullpen as he trots in. As Chatham now looking for their second pitcher of Game 2 of the doubleheader after Game 1 did not go so well for Carson Wisenhunt. They had to dig into their bullpen a bit. Now Game 2, it's huge for Ben Hampton to give you that big of a start.
And really credit Hampton. I mean, he pitched well from the first inning on. It was really a 2-pitch mix, fastball, slider, but kept everyone off balance. Game I actually thought coming off the hard-throwing lefty in Game 1 that I thought Hyannis might have success in just seeing back-to-back lefties both through that kind of lofty, you guys called it like a slurve, breaking ball, but with the exception of that one inning, was not hit hard at all, kept his team, once they got the lead, ahead, and I really can't say enough good things about that outing, also sparing his bullpen.
So Ellerts pitched this last year at Florida Southwestern State. He is slated to transfer to the University of Florida come fall, but this past season with a FSW, if I'm getting that right, a 2.14 ERA and 14 appearances. He started all 14 of those games, 10 wins, no losses. He did throw a complete game in 69 innings pitched. Listen to this, 101 strikeouts to 36 walks.
Pretty good ratio. The walks a little bit high, though, for just 69 innings pitched, so that's something to keep in mind here as Ellerts takes his warm-up tosses, and it's going to be Tito Flores to face him here, the right-handed bat, but Tito's hit both righties and lefties pretty well. So we'll let him get a couple more tosses in, and before he finishes up, let's get a word in from one of our sponsors. First, T-Mobile. T-Mobile is proud to sponsor the Cape Cod Baseball League. T-Mobile believes that when small towns thrive, America thrives. That's why they're investing billions to bring fast, reliable, and affordable wireless service beyond the big cities to small towns across America. There's never been a better time to join T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to find out more. And let's find out a little bit more about Magnus Ellerts, the right-hander, the sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. Zach, you're well traveled. You ever been there?
I have been to Woodbridge. I've driven through. What a journey this guy is on. He's gone from Patrick Henry to Patrick Henry Community College. He led the Patriots to the NJCAA Division II World Series and then transferred to Florida Southwestern State and now off to U of F. Come fall, he's pitched in 3 separate summer leagues as well. The Cal Ripken League down in the DMV, which our director of broadcast, Harrison Myers, quite familiar with before going to the Appy League and now off to the Cape League.
Flores stands at the plate with Mitch Jebb on first with nobody out for Ellerts, and he's already been off to a strong start this summer for Chatham. Here's the first pitch, misses high. Ellerts 6 2/3 at this point. 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 14 punch-outs. This is their guy out of the bullpen.
I mean, the words of our third typical broadcaster, Drake Toll, who's chilling out in the...
Chilling to your right.
Chilling off to my right now. Excuse me. Welcome up to the booth, Drake Toll. But is that good? That sounds
Runner
like
goes on the pitch. It's a breaking ball. The throw to second is not in time. Mitch Jebb, big stolen base there, puts a man in scoring position. Ellerts is behind at the count, 2-0 to Tito Flores.
Jebb got a late jump there, and I believe the catcher, Travinsky, almost seemed like it was a delayed reaction getting it off. And
the breaking ball doesn't do you any favors there.
No, I was just gonna
base
say,
runner's going.
It's hard to get a good throw on a high breaking ball. You're going to wrangle the pitch. It's slower in the 70s and then make a hard throw to one of the fastest guys in the league.
But, man, how good has Mitch Jebb been on the base paths?
Jebb gets his lead off second. Ellerts comes home, and that one hits the knob of Tito Flores' bat. It's the second time today Tito's had the bat jammed on him as he's checked his swing. 2-1 the count.
All right, so here you go. You have the tying run at the plate. Nobody out. You got 3 outs to work with here in the bottom of the 6th, and the heart of your lineup coming up. So
here's your spot.
This is the chance that the Hawks have to, hey, they finally hit above 500. You don't want to lose it later that night now, do you?
Big spot here for Tito Flores and the Harbor Hawks. He's ahead in the count 2-1 as Ellerts comes set. Take a glance over at second, comes home with a pitch that misses inside.
Good eye.
That's a good pitch to take, a tough one to take. You never know with the umpires in the Cape Cod Baseball League what the zone's going to be, but I think we've established the inside strike you don't get as much. Outside, though, you can live outside all day and you're going to get the call. See where Ellerts goes here on 3-1 as he comes set once more. Mitch Jebb Off a second, here's the pitch. Flores, big swing, big miss, full count.
Now, Austin, you've mentioned that the Harbor Hawks have hit some pitchers in the last week during the season that have come into these games quite good. Ellerts is another one that's got a pretty spotless resume thus far, but hey, just another feather in the cap if you can somehow make something work.
See if the Hawks can crack the big right-hander who's thrown 6 2/3 scoreless. That one misses for ball 4. Good start. Tito Flores draws a walk. Now you have first and second. Nobody out for your 3-hitter, Justin Hyannis.
Oh, you love this spot so much. And Chatham went to try and play matchup and get the righty in against the righty Flores. And now instead you have the righty in against the lefty Justin Hyannis with 2 on and nobody out.
Hyannis has put together some good swings in recent weeks, and I think this is a bat that's really come alive and is somebody who could carry this offense throughout the summer.
Well, really credit Tito right there. I mean, you see a lot of guys come up here, and this league can be a me league in the sense you have so many scouts, you have limited at-bats to make impressions, especially late in the game. But that 3-2 pitch laying off a high fastball, we've seen guys chase that pitch trying to do too much.
Called strike to Hyannis.
And in touching on what you're saying about Hyannis, yeah, a guy coming from Illinois who was the Big Ten batting champion as COVID freshman, batted over 400 in the Northwoods, a guy who walks more than he strikes out at school. Really a complete player in a good spot for himself right now.
Here's the 0-1 to Hyannis. He's going to watch that one to the outside corner. Now he's behind 0-2 with runners on first and second. Nobody out in a 3-1 ball game in which the Hawks are trailing 2. We'll see what the meat of the order can do here. Anglers outfield relatively deep and right, respecting Hyannis' power. He's already pulled the ball there today. Ellerts comes set, takes a glance at second, brings home the 0-2. Hyannis foul tips it. It's hung on to by the catcher, Travinsky, and that's a big out, number 1 for Chatham.
Tough day for Hyannis. 3 strikeouts. And
was 2 for 3 in the first game, though.
Was 2 for 3 in the first game, like you said. But, hey, Christian Moore has had a hit in his first 3 games on Cape Cod. He could have a chance for an early signature moment of his season and this team's season as well.
Here comes Moore. 1 for 2 here in game 2. A single and a run scored. Be a big spot here for the young kid. In his first week on Cape Cod, it's been quite the whirlwind. Got in, came right to the booth, did an interview with us, making a couple of starts in the last couple days, and probably going to be a mainstay of this lineup around the field. We said second base, Sarman left, Sarman right today. Now at the dish. Runner's going to go. Double steal is on. The throw to third is going to be not in time. It bounced up. The throw kind of did beat him there, but it ate up Herrera a bit. Wasn't an accurate throw. Double steal works, and the Hawks tying run over on second.
I love that decision. Takes the double play away. But
huge.
I'm looking at Christian Moore right now. 10 home runs on the season at Tennessee in limited playing time. If there's been any time in this game for the power bats to come alive, one swing of the bat could put you ahead.
I'm looking at that right side. See if he can take something the other way. That one gets off the glove of Travinsky. Here comes Jeb. The flip, not in time.
Well, that works
big,
too.
big run for the Harbor Hawks as they pull back within a run. Tying run moves up to third.
Well, that works too, does it not?
That does work. And now, one out, a 2-0 count to Christian Moore. You're in a big spot.
And that's what you get with Mitch Jebb. But we've talked about it. He's so dynamic. And in the couple of conversations I've had with scouts, they said, I don't see how this guy is not a future big leaguer because of the tool makeup, the strong arm, the good defense, the speed. And for a kid who is so skinny right now, he actually has sneaky power, doesn't strike out, and that's just how he affects the game in so many ways.
Big time play by Jeb. Now Tito Flores on third. The 2-0 to Christian Moore. Misses off the glove of Travinsky again. Here comes Flores, and the game is tied.
Unbelievable. So here... Again.
We got to take another look. Back-to-back pitches off the mitt of Travinsky. Pops right off of him. Here comes Flores. And, man, the Hawks were down 3-1. You thought top of the 6th. Chatham gets another run, puts it ahead 3-1. They don't quit. This team does not quit, and they just are relentless.
I mean, man, again, you come into another situation where you have a guy entering the game who has been lights out, and once he gets on that bump at McKeon Park, completely different story.
Called strike on the outside. I mean, that's on the left-handed batter's box, right on the white line.
Inches, I mean, yards almost off the plate.
There's the 3-1 from Ellerts. Moore swings through that one, 3-2,
I don't blame
93
him.
on the fastball.
I don't blame him for swinging for the fences whatsoever there. Two guys already come in. The wild pitches essentially do your job for you.
Now we are slated to play 7 as the 3-2's on its way. Misses for ball full. Did he call that a strike?
No, he checked
No,
out
didn't.
first.
Okay.
but I will say
I
he's
was-
called that for a strike
Yeah, I was
all day
confused.
long.
After he rang up Hyannis looking earlier, I've been yet to really pick up on
Two
this
pitches
guy's.
before that
Right.
was a strike, so I don't blame you. And we had that weird one earlier. Yeah,
Right,
Hyannis,
right.
we were like,
That's ball 4, and then nope. So
right.
at the end of the day, Christian Moore is back on first as Ellerts is having fits with his Harbor Hawk lineup now. Out of the pen, into the game, and immediately Hyannis has played it 2 without really swinging the bat.
And here's a big situation for Nolan, a guy that we all know has all the potential in the world. You've seen flashes of it right now, but I think you mentioned, Zach, a signature moment. This could be his right here, a guy who hit a ton of home runs at school.
2-0, so Shanuel firmly in the driver's seat.
I mean, as cool as a home run sounds right now, I would say red light all the way through until this
If he
guy
gets a
proves he
fastball,
can-
though.
I trust Nolan. I hear the red light. He hasn't been able to throw a strike, but this is a kid who's got this is your hitter, a guy you're going to ride all summer, a guy who was a lot of chatter about Team USA in the offseason, had one of the better seasons from the first base position in the country. He came up here, in our opinion, to hit. If he's ahead 2-0 and gets a fastball, he's a guy I give the green light to all day, every day.
Oh, I absolutely agree, but at the same time, this guy is not giving you anything right now.
He did strike out Hyannis just a couple batters ago. So
That is true.
after the mound visit with Cook, we'll see where the right-hander Ellerts goes.
And you're trying to get ahead in the count right now. You have a runner on first. You've thrown, and I don't know how they're ruled, but they look to me, truthfully, like pass balls. Maybe one wild pitch.
Yeah.
Second one seemed to be a pass ball to me. You don't want to get another guy in scoring position with only one out. I'd come in here with a fastball and just challenge him.
Moore back safely on the pickoff move. It's only the 5th batter of the inning, but things have unraveled quickly for the Chatham Anglers. It was a leadoff single by Mitch Jebb. He then stole second. Tito Flores walked. They did the double steal, second and third. Couple of pass balls later, this game's tied. Shanuel shoots it to left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Here comes Christian Moore going first to third. The throw from left field is in time. But Christian Moore is going to get tagged out. Shanuel moves up to second. Aggressive base running by the young Tennessee star Christian Moore does not pay off, and Shanuel is going to be at second with 2 outs.
So
No, that's a big base running mistake right there. Your club, I understand being excited, but you have runners on first and second, nobody out. A ball that wasn't hit very hard, so the outfielder coming in on that did not even have to make a strong throw. As you saw, Christian was out by probably 4 or 5 feet.
It's a
You could
learning
see
moment.
Eric Beatty kind of shaking his head. As you said, he's a freshman. It is a learning moment, a guy trying to make a play, get excited. But, you circle those as, that's an opportunity squandered.
Rocco Pepe trying to make up for it. It's going to get down for a fair ball. Shanuel's going to come home to score. Pepe's on his way to second. He's going to third. The throw from left field not in time. Rocco Pepe triples ahead the go-ahead run, and the Hawks come back from 3-1 to take the lead.
How good does it feel to say, Austin Dakuda, Nick Johnson, the juice is loose?
Rocco Pepe.
Well, it's going to come with a protest and anger as there's going to be discussion on fair or foul. Clearly from up here, it looked very fair on the line, but Holiday right now is going to give the home plate umpire an earful.
Problem is no other umpire was positioned to have a better look than the home plate umpire on that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the reason why you have a third base umpire as well. We've seen in a couple games of Holiday, he gets pretty animated. Really frustrating as he had everything set up for himself, his closer that had been untouchable thus far on Cape. But really credit Rocco Pepe in the situation. You guys alluded to it. Hadn't been hot recently. Gets a good pitch to hit, drives it, alertly gets to third on the fumble ball. And a chance here for Hyannis to add another run on. But I can't compliment Rocco enough. You'd come off the struggles. We had seen a couple of good swings recently, but that's a good pitcher right there. And a huge, huge run for Hyannis.
How good does that do you think that feels for Rocco Pepe, who, like you mentioned, definitely struggling, nothing like an RBI triple in a huge spot in the bottom of the 6th of a doubleheader game to break you out of a slump?
Here comes Philip Matulia to try to add an insurance run for the Hawks. 4-3, they now take the lead. The pitch from Ellerts. Inside, going to miss for a ball. The Hawks came into the inning trailing 3-1. A few batters later, they lead it 4-3. What another comeback, as this team, no matter the situation, does not quit on the diamond. 1-0 now to Matulia. Ellerts comes set. Here's the pitch. High for a ball, 2-0, as he does not have it today.
No, and that's why when we alluded to earlier, and I don't think Zach was wrong at all with the red light, but when you know here you are 2-0 again, you haven't been able to find the strike zone. Sometimes as a hitter, you try to eliminate a pitch. You haven't been able to see the breaking ball for a strike, really the fastball either. But right now, if I'm Phil, you're teeing off here on a fastball, and he gets a slider.
He drops the slider, and that's why, man, baseball is just the toughest sport, in my opinion, because you're at the plate, 2-0 count, right? You're just expecting a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well,
and
to be fair, he hasn't been able to throw the fastball for a strike in this at-bat, so dropping the slider does make a lot of sense right there.
Here's the 2-1, another breaking pitch, another strike, 2-2 is, yeah, you mentioned
and
it,
that's
Nick,
what he has to feel for right now.
Well, now the question becomes, who do you go to for the 7th?
It looks like you can do two things. You can run out O'Halloran again, but they have Brandon Neek on the bump in the outfield, I believe, and Neek has closer experience at UVA. I believe he had 3 saves last year, so a guy where the moment might not be too big.
2-2 Matulia. We'll see if he went around. They'll check over at third, and yes, he did. Says third base umpire Mike Beal, so that will end the inning, but what a comeback. We'll keep it here as we head to the 7th. I mean, by the Harbor Hawks, guys, you have to be excited about this team as they continue to come back, show some resiliency, and just battle throughout the game.
The Cardiac Hawks, man. What else can you say? Even when you come out of a situation where you strand 2 runners the inning prior, you give up a really tough luck run in the top of the 6th. No harm, no foul. Keep your head down, keep working, keep hacking away at whatever's given to you. And despite a base running mistake by Christian Moore, that some teams that ends your night. Not in this case, not for this team. And it's just the moxie. It's that. I've held back from using that phrase. This team's got that dog in them.
Yeah, this team has that dog in them.
This team's got that dog in them.
They do. Brandon Neek going to be the guy to come on to the mound to try to close the door here in the 7th. Yes, the 7th. We're going to play just 7 here. This is game 2 of today's Sunday doubleheader. For just joining us, you've missed some of the best action we've seen this season. The Hawks have stormed back. We're going to bring it up here in the booth. What do we got going on over there, guys?
Well, Drake is down doing his thing with his bag of pistachios, but we're going to come up into the booth for my best impression of what's in the box. And today, what do we have here but a Halloween special, an orange dress shirt, a black tie. I don't know, unless you're Jack Skellington, why you'd be wearing this.
Well, I'll tell you, because 10 years ago I purchased this. So me and my broadcast partners, we were at the Cape Cod Mall. These were on sale deservingly for about $20. We said, okay, come on, 20 bucks. We can all wear them every away and home game. So I have no idea why this is here. I have no idea why it's still hanging.
It's still here.
It's a relic. I think it is now good luck. We should put it somewhere.
It's going to go right here.
It needs to be.
Nick, right behind us, we have our What's in the Box items. We have that plush doll, Drake's laptop screen. Somewhere around here, there's giant bolt cutters. So that'll make a nice addition.
Could I have gone more random? Yes. But this had a personal connection. I thought I could tie that in.
Oh, no, we love this.
So, yes, that is a slimmer version of me.
What's in the box is Nick Johnson's shirt from 10 years ago that him and his broadcast partner picked up at the Cape Cod Mall for 20 bucks.
Yeah, shout out Dylan Vizano, DJ Jamiel, friends of the show listening.
10 years ago at the mall and on the Cape, it was dressed like a jack-o'-lantern day.
Or a Harbor Hawk, one or the
other.
That's
the Harbor Hawk orange. That is indeed the Harbor Hawk orange. So what's in the box brought to you by Honeydew Donuts. A special shout out to Honeydew, and thank you for sponsoring What's in the Box once again, as that's going to be a nice addition to the shelf. And here we go. 7th inning. Brandon Neek on the bump, the left-hander who has made a nice addition to the bullpen since joining the team about a week or so ago. He's come in a couple of big spots. Bases loaded debut, I believe, in Harwich. And here, looking for the save. The moment not too big for the lefty.
I almost feel that's a rite of passage this season, is bringing a new guy in with the bases loaded.
We saw it with Neek, Rosario as well. Here's the first pitch. That's going to be a big swing and a big miss by Johnny Castagnazzi, who's 0 for 2. A pair of punch-out swinging. His Harbor Hawk pitching has been really good. Even though there's been 7 hits in this game, the punch-outs have added up for Hyannis. It's a total now of 11.
Hey, 11 in game 1, now 11 in game 2.
11 in game 2 as well. That one's popped foul, and we're right away 0-2 or for Brandon Neek. What a start here to the inning.
Discounting the 4 innings that would not be played due to these being 7-inning games. The league this year voting, capping no extra innings in either doubleheaders or regular games, so it will end this inning regardless.
So 22 strikeouts.
That is
in
big
13
time.
innings.
Here's the 0-2 from Neek. That one's going to, looks like it bounced and hit Castagnozzi. No, it didn't. I thought it for sure hit his calf.
Positive it hit his calf.
Yeah.
So was I. And remember, if it hits the ground first but then hits the batter, it's still a hit batsman.
Correct. So
let's just stay hush on that.
That's fine. Hey, ball 1. That's
ball
all
1.
that is.
We didn't see
that.
That
is okay. No instant replay for that one. 1-2 the count. Neek comes set. Taylor, the catcher, gives the signs and squats on the outside part of the plate. Here's the 1-2. That one is hit well to left. Going to go well foul, way out in front of the breaking pitch.
I got to tell you, right now I kind of feel like, you know that kid in the classroom that has to remind the teacher, didn't we have homework? Yeah, I kind of felt like that right there.
Well, you know, Neek's an interesting guy. You know, a guy who's coming up here, wanted to pitch prior to the draft, maybe, increase his value, bump up a couple of rounds, as you're seeing more and more guys do.
The 1-2, that one's hit to right center field. On the run is McConnell. He turns the shoulder. It's going to get over the wall. This game is tied off the bat of Johnny Castagnozzi. It didn't look like it was going out off the bat, but it carried into the shrubbery. In 4-4, the game is tied.
Well, you heard it off the bat. It had that sound, and Castagnozzi did a good job waiting out the breaking pitch. That's a really tough piece of hitting, serving it out to right center field, deepest part of the yard. And
oh, credit him. That was a piece, dead center field, like line drive. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the breaking ball. They tripled up on it. You know, and that's something that we had talked a little bit about with the arms here. You know, deviating from repetition a little bit, falling in love with the pitch too much. That one being just left over the plate.
See how he responds. It's with a fastball, but it's out of the zone. 1-0 now to the leadoff man, Jake DeLeo. DeLeo is now 1 for 3 here in the second part of today's doubleheader.
We can go as many as 9 innings tonight, can we?
We cannot.
We cannot.
Here's the 1-0 from Neek. Also outside 2-0.
Now I'll explain why. Preseason, you weren't wrong. The GMs had voted, executive board had voted that 4 doubleheaders you would have 2 extra innings allowed, capped at 9. But there was the opening pitch brunch where the league managers got together.
Oh, it's fouled off?
And said they believed it was not advantageous to the arms on the roster. We re-voted and changed that and capped it at 7 innings. So you were not wrong, Zach. That is a new change that happened literally opening day.
Thank you for that update. We did not know that, but that is huge.
Regardless of what happens, the Hawks are going to have last licks here at the bottom of the 7th. So.
That is true, and for now, Neek is focused on DeLeo in a 2-1 count. Here's the breaking ball, fouled back. 78, but up in the zone, and the count moves to 2-2.
And you feel for Neek because that was not a bad pitch on the home run by Castagnozzi. It was a breaking ball, and what a piece of hitting. Like you mentioned,
with
Nick,
a wood bat
with
to
a
do
wood
that.
Bat, that is professional power out to dead center on a line drive with a wood bat off of one of the better closers, I'd say, on this Harbor Hawk roster.
4-4, we're tied. That one's hit on the ground to second. Nishida makes the play, flip on to first in time. Riku Nishida, as sure as they come over at second. Even when he plays the ball a little bit off to the side, you just have that feeling he's going to make the play cleanly.
Well, it's one thing to really think about. Obviously, we've played in a lot of one-run games. I believe this is now the 4th blown save in the 8th inning or later. And you can look at that 2 things. Like, one way, just be like overtly disappointed, like, wow, look what our record could be. But I also look at it like, whoa, what is this team really capable of? Because these arms are really good arms. And, there has been a little bit of a closer situation. We close by a committee here because you can't throw back-to-back nights with these pitchers. They're on loan.
You also can't wait if you have the guy like Ty Langenberg in a big spot. You don't want to hold him for a safe situation that may not come. 1-1 the count.
So, I mean, when you look at the broad spectrum of the record of this team, and if you even say, hey, what if we squeezed out 2 of those, you're looking at literally a couple points from behind Katuitt, and that's where I'm super excited about this team. I don't think really the record is indicative of how good they've actually played.
What really matters here is just keeping yourself in that top 4, making the playoffs, and obviously building some momentum towards the playoffs is big and winning games, but You don't have to, some of these games slip away. You're still on pace, right? There's a long season, and they are right in the thick of it.
Something you got to mention, though. What do all these blown saves have in common that tonight does not? As that's taken low and
3-1, and what would that be?
All of them have been on the road. So the Hawks have not had the chance to potentially walk the game off, which they could and should have tonight.
They did walk it off against Falmouth, but was not a blown save
that was
situation.
A blown save, not by the Hawks,
it was
but by
the
the
comeback win for the Hawks. Here's the 3-1 from Neek. That one's popped up. He's going to drift out to shallow center where McConnell drifts in. He puts the glove up, makes the catch, and that's a way to bounce back by Brandon Neek. Gets the home run, gets back-to-back outs.
And when you talk about kind of like the psyche of different guys, it's interesting because it's now getting to the point where in a one-run game, it has to be in the back of everyone's head, like, uh-oh. It's like, all right, we've come back. We've done this multiple times now, but it seems to be regardless of who's coming in, there is that little hiccup. And like last night, blowing the save over at Bourne, and credit Jay Driver settling down, striking on the side with the bases loaded, which really in itself could be its own save because, I mean, talk about he did save the game. They would have won the game. But it is something going forward, I think, to, circle, keep an eye on. It's these one-run games, 4 already in your first 12 is kind of an alarming number.
2-0 the count to Hayden Travinsky, the catcher. He's 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored.
But it's heart palpitating, inducing.
It's exciting, but it's also stressful.
It's just one word for it. I felt like my body was seizing as the ball was going out. I mean, when you watch enough games here, which ones are gone, and off the bat like that, you knew gone.
Here's the 2-0. Misses outside. 3-0.
Yeah, when you get that sound from like a well-barreled ball off a wooden bat, you could just tell, even though it didn't have the immediate trajectory.
Well, the nights when the wind blows out to right center, if you can just get it up in the jet stream, we used to call it, it flies out of this ballpark.
Ball 4. 4-pitch walk there by Neek to Travinsky, so that'll put a man on with 2 away in the inning.
Left fielder from South Carolina.
The Harbor Hawks have an arm up in their bullpen. It looks like maybe Ethan Hammerberg, I believe.
It's always tough to see out here, but it does appear to be Hammerberg. I mean, especially our vantage point.
So Hammerberg, I assume if you don't get Ingram out to retire the inning, Hammerberg may be in for mop-up.
Matt Hogan at the plate, lefty-lefty. Hogan pinch ran for Ingram. And a couple innings back. That one, nice block there by Taylor. Saves a man from moving up into scoring position.
And that's why Charlie Taylor is here.
Good defensive catcher. We've seen it tonight. Behind the dish, you have a go-ahead run over at first as we're in the top of the 7th inning. Hawks have battled their way back, but the Anglers haven't gone away quietly. 2 out, 1 man on, 1-0 the count, and there's a pitch, and it's going to miss outside 2-0. Neek, 6 straight balls.
And now you really have to be careful with this next pitch because, like we mentioned the last inning with the red lights, you have to really be careful. If you're throwing a strike, Ingram could be sitting green light on 2-0.
Well, you assume he would be.
Here's the 2-0 to Hogan. That one's going to come up and in, miss for a ball.
Yeah, and if 7 consecutive balls now, if there were to be a walk here, I think this is the time you need to see Kevin Ohm come out, talk to Brandon, settle down his nerves. Obviously good stuff, but right now uncharacteristically wild.
3-0 the count to Matt Hogan. Here's the pitch. That's going to come inside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks on just 8 pitches by Brandon Neek, and that's going to prompt a mound visit, but looks like manager Eric Beatty is going to come out, and we could see a pitching change.
Yeah, that was an uncharacteristic performance if he does make the change, which he just did, to Hammerberg. With Neek, 8 consecutive balls and the leadoff home run. A guy who's really had a tremendous season for UVA. But now it's bear down time for Ethan Hammerberg, who was, I believe, last pitched in a big spot at Brewster.
Yep. Hammerberg coming on after a couple days of not pitching. As you mentioned, Nick, his last appearance was over in Brewster at Stony Brook Field, so a chance for Hammerberg to help the Hawks get out of the inning, keep the score tied at 4 apiece. We're going to take a brief break while the Hammer warms up. You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
I'm Drake Toll, and this is a broadcast of Hyannis Harbor Hawks Baseball on the Hyannis Harbor Hawk Baseball Network. We'd like to take time to thank the Cape Cod Baseball League's corporate sponsors, including Coca-Cola Bottling of New England. Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola, has been proudly refreshing the community for over 30 years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. Fairway Financial. Fairway Financial is a proud national sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. If you want to hit a home run with your retirement income plan, visit fairwayfinancial.net and ask for owner and host family sponsor Steve Anzuoni, Cape Cod's retirement income specialist. That's fairwayfinancial.net. Thank you for tuning in to today's game in the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Harbor Hawk Baseball Network, where it's a great day to be a Hawk.
Welcome back as Ethan Hammerberg, the right-hander from Ohio State, finishes his warm-up tosses. Austin Nakuda, Zach Berman, and Nick Johnson in the broadcast booth here, the Tim Elstrom Broadcast Center, on a very special day here in Hyannis. The Hawks picked up the win in Game 1 of the doubleheader here versus the Chatham Anglers. Game 2 started off a bit slow for Hyannis, but they battled back to take a 4-3 lead. But unfortunately, Johnny Castagnazzi blasted a solo shot here in the top of the 7th to tie us up at 4 apiece. Couple of outs and a couple of walks later, we're here. First and second, 2 outs. New pitcher Hammerberg up to come in and face the 5th hitter, Dominic Tamez. We may have a pinch hitter on deck, and it appears we do for the Chatham Anglers. But guys, what a job by the Harbor Hawks to battle back, and here they still have a chance to get out of the inning.
Yeah, and I think the pinch hitter, I believe, is Reggio.
It is Rock Reggio.
We saw him in Game 1. Part of Game 1, that was. He was also pinch hit for at some point.
Had a rough game, I would say. 2 strikeouts and a sacrifice bunt.
Had a big postseason. Not sure if you guys got to watch any of the regional, super regional stuff.
Of course,
but he was electric, got a lot of airtime, you know, big personality.
Will say I'm a little bit bummed I didn't get to watch the end of the College World Series. And, of course, Ole Miss won today.
Big shout out to Ole Miss. Congratulations on the big victory. But here, Ethan Hammerberg looking to bear down, get out of the inning, and give the Hawks a chance at their own victory. First and second, 2 out. First pitch to Rock Reggio, called strike. There's a nice breaking ball to start him off.
Exactly what you want to see out of the game.
And, well, that's his bread and butter. He's fastball, curveball. You know, at school he was up to 96. On Cape, we really haven't seen that velocity. It's been kind of 90, 92. But, you know, he's got the hammer.
Here's the 0-1 from Hammerberg. That one's chopped down to first. Shanuel comes in, bobbles it, flip on to first. No, won't happen. He'll take it himself. I thought for a second we may have had another error, unfortunately. But Shanuel recovers, makes the play on the 3 unassisted to get out of the jam. Nice job by Hammerberg to bear down. Let's keep it here.
Absolutely. I was going to say, hey, boys, let's stay on air.
Let's stay right here.
But, yeah, you know, I credit Hammerberg has come into a tough situation against a good hitter, pinch hitting late in this game.
Contact.
And Shanuel to stay with that ball. And when I saw the in-between hop, my heart skipped.
Yeah, so did mine.
But knocked it down, picked it up, got the out, and now a chance to walk off with the victory. And at the least, you're guaranteed a tie. So
But getting a point one way or the other.
A point. I mean, again, and the blown save's a little disappointing, but – I mean, this continues a streak. You guys would know better than me. What, 5 consecutive games out of loss now?
Yeah. So they had the tie. They had Brewster, the victory in Brewster, victory here versus Brewster, bouncing back. Then I believe it was the victory
over
in Wareham, the tie in Bourne, and then here in Game 1 against Chatham, the victory. So this will be the 5th, I believe.
Fifth, yeah.
Fifth consecutive game without a loss.
Here's a development. So Charlie Taylor out of the game. It will be Pancho Ruiz picking up the bat in a pinch hit situation to start the bottom of the 9th with Riku Nishida on deck. So it will go Pancho, Riku, Jeb, 9, 1, and 2. And, hey, we've said Pancho's got light tower power. Haven't seen it yet this season, but he can end the game on one swing.
He absolutely can. I mean, the 4-hitter for a San Diego State team that really didn't have the season they wanted to have. Assistant General Manager Zach Chase actually found Pancho really early on in the last offseason. He had a very successful season in the Northwoods. The really only question was he didn't get to catch a lot as a true freshman. Their catcher went, I believe, in the top 3 rounds. So I've actually been super impressed by the defense. He was their pretty much primary catcher all season at San Diego State. I believe at 10 homers, 14 doubles, or maybe 8 homers, 14 doubles. And you've seen early on, not a knock on Pancho, but not the fastest guy.
Right.
So I think with other guys, there would be even more extra base hits. But a guy who didn't have a ton of protection at school, who I felt would come up here, bat him kind of lower in the lineup in your 5th, 6th hole with guys that have a ton of protection. He doesn't have to be that guy, but definitely a ton of power.
First pitch of the inning on its way. Breaking ball to Poncho, called a strike.
Now, a thing to remember from last inning is the inability to really throw the fastball for a strike. You saw the breaking ball to lead off the at-bat, and it's something to think about with these hitters is if he isn't able to throw the fastball, you have to respect it, but you start eliminating it. And you saw it again.
Skies it to shallow right. Moving out is Riggio, the new second baseman, makes the catch out number 1.
But again, it is back-to-back sliders. You haven't really seen the fastball much after the 2 past balls. And it's something as a hitter you need to start locking in on is, of course, you can't sit breaking ball. You're never going to catch up to the fastball. But, you know, once you're able to kind of eliminate a pitch, which he seemingly has done.
Ellerts is, a little surprising maybe that he's back on the mound. Nick, we just talked about it. He didn't have the location he typically has. Now Riku Nishida is going to stand in. Third time in this game he's been up. He's 1 for 2 with a single. First pitch from Ellerts to Nishida. Misses for a ball.
Well, if you get Riku on, then it's a completely different situation because then you can have Riku wreak some havoc on the base paths. The guy behind him, Mitch Jebb, also capable of doing as such.
Here's the 1-0 to Nishida. That one, did he make contact?
Looks like he found it back, yeah.
The umpire's not really giving us much with his hands, so we're not really getting any help on telling what's going on down there.
Again, after the first pitch fastball that missed, you go breaking ball. That pitch left up in the zone. Check swing there by Nishida. Unhappy with himself for going. Looked to be a ball. But a guy who really knows the strike zone maybe better than anyone in this league.
Here's the 1-1. Nishida goes after that one. Comes up empty 1-2, but it was a strike. You rarely see him ever have the bat leave his shoulder on a ball out of the zone.
All right, here we go. Here comes the adjustments. The right-handed swing. Now he's going to get all the way down. 1-2 shoulder shimmy.
Ellerts shakes off a couple of signs from the catcher. Still searching for what pitch he wants to throw. Here's the 1-2 on its way. And after all that, it's a ball way outside and in the dirt.
Riku gives the ball back to the catcher. Truwinski,
Riku looking to set the table here with 1 out for what could be a Hawks win. If he can get on base, Hawks just need 1 run. That's all we need. Bottom 7. Game 2 of the doubleheader. Here's the 2-2. In the dirt, 3-2. And this is Riku Nishida at his best, working the count, coming back from behind, and with a full count and 1 out, Nishida going to still battle.
Remember, the Hawks have already walked off 1 game this season. That was against Falmouth last week.
That is true.
Austin, you were on the call for that.
That is also true. Here's the 3-2 on its way from Ellerts. Nishida fouls it off.
Just a great piece of hitting. You've talked about it, I'm sure, ad nauseum up here, the 2-strike approach. But he leads the league in pitches seen. You saw right there spoiling a great fastball. And Nishida, truthfully, in the past couple of weeks, this isn't even a bias, has been called out on pitches that were way low in the zone. He could even have more walks.
Here's the 3-2. Nishida protects himself. It hits off Ellerts. Nishida's going to reach base safely. Good things happen when you put the ball in play, and the winning runs aboard with 1 out.
Well, you saw him. It's the recipe is easy. Like you said, it's put the ball in play. He chokes up, shoots the ball back up the middle, off the pitcher, parachuting into right field, and really this is the situation you're looking for with speed and contact right here. You can do so many things, hit and run, stolen base. Now, Riku gives me a heart attack on the base pass. I don't know about you guys.
A little bit. A couple of pickoffs at first, but also plenty of stolen bases to go with it.
And you do worry a little bit with a lefty on the mound.
It's nice to see a lefty off, yes.
Ellerts comes set. Here's a pickoff move, but Riku's back in plenty of time. Seems like he's shortened up that lead a bit.
At the very least, you should get the chance to see Tito Flores here, but I like Mitch Jebb in this spot a lot.
Jebb's already got 2 hits in this game, both singles. Rico's started to go, but will retreat, and that one misses for a ball.
The boys are buzzing in the dugout right now.
They are all up. You can see Philip Matulia in the center of it. We talked about him as one of the leaders. Austin Strickland among Wes Burton, those guys getting the team fired up. The Hawks want to sweep Chatham out of Hyannis today in this doubleheader. Leans in, does Ellerts, gets the signs, comes set. Nishida on first. He's going to go on the pitch. That one's high and outside. The throw to second is not in time. Riku Nishida swipes second, and the winning run is in scoring position.
What a slide by Nishida. The throw could have beaten him, and Nishida immediately goes low, swings his left arm around, and makes sure that he gets to avoid the tag. And now they're going to intentionally walk Mitch Jebb.
Okay.
Now, That is an interesting decision because you are going from the frying pan to the pressure cooker, so to say, with Tito Flores now on.
I think it's the right move, personally.
Right.
Jeb's been on fire. He's a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. It's the lefty-righty combo. Jeb's splits are better against right-handers. And now you go righty-righty, probably something he feels more comfortable with and sets up the double play, which would end the game in a tie. So from a managerial standpoint, I understand it. I respect it. I think that actually is, baseball-wise, the right move.
Especially when you're already behind 2-0 to Jeb. I mean, this guy hasn't been able to throw his fastball first strike, so just give him the other 2 balls, put him on. That puts runners on first and second. And
yeah, sorry to cut you. Something we saw the other day was a double steal with Jeb and Nishida. Now, I don't know how much I'd want that to happen. I'm just saying we did see it the other night in a very similar situation.
Well, Riku's already got a big lead off of first.
Second base is Jeb's if Riku goes, too. They're not going to have a throw there. Here's the first pitch to Tito Flores, called strike on the inside part of the plate.
Remember, Tito also has a 10-game hitting streak riding right here, so he's got one last chance, and a hit not only brings it to 11, but
now,
of course
it's something he would probably never do, but
they
are giving you a bunt hit right here.
Right.
Like,
nobody's going to be able to cover first.
No one can cover first base. Now, it's your 2-hitter at school, he batted 5th. Never going to happen, but when you look at it, you're like, from the perspective of being up here, you go, okay, that's something to think about.
Right. Second baseman's holding Nishida on over there. That's Riggio.
And Grice really playing it almost in a shift, way off the bag, conceding really that the ball is going to go to the opposite field.
0-1 the count to Tito Flores. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball. He had a good chance at it, but comes up empty. 0-2.
Well, if I look at my handy-dandy spray chart, which I haven't brought out yet today, Tito only has 3 hits to the opposite field compared to plenty more. Most of his contacts tend to be pulls.
He's a true dead pull hitter pretty much. It's the scouting report right now, the way they are playing this is the way they should be played.
First and second, 1 out, bottom of the 7th. A run wins the game for the Hawks. Here's the 0-2 to Flores. Misses for a ball. Tito Flores is going to battle. 1-2 the count with 1 away. 92 on the fastball by Magnus Ellerts.
And really, it's not going to take a lot. I mean, with the speed on the base path right now, anything that really gets into the outfield, I think could win this ball game.
Ellerts comes set. Flores at the dish. Nishida's the winning run on second. Here's the breaking ball. Misses high. 2-2. That's a tough pitch to lay off, but it's a good one to take.
Fantastic plate discipline. And now you have to be extra careful because if you somehow walk Tito Flores, that brings into play what we saw win the game against Falmouth, the potential game-winning wild pitch.
That's correct.
And an homage to Tim Elstrom, the 8 o'clock ferry leaving a little bit late, 8:07. We hear it at the harbor.
The 2-2. Flores comes up empty.
And that's why, again, we go back to the intentional walk of Mitch Jeb. The splits against righty-righty, the slider plays much better against righties, and it all comes down to Hyannis.
Well, Hyannis is up. Now Cole McConnell is looking like he's going to pinch hit if it reaches that point.
So unfortunately for Hyannis, and here in Game 2 of the doubleheader, he's 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs, but Game 1 he had 2 hits. Now facing a right-handed pitcher, the first pitch to Hyannis misses way high, 1-0. And on Tim Elstrom Day, the Harbor Hawks have already won the first game. Here in Game 2, have a chance to really bring some life to the ballpark just like Tim did for decades.
Baseball is a funny way of telling stories that play out right in front of you, doesn't it?
It does. Here's a chance for another here. Hyannis at the plate, the 1-0 pitch. Thought about going around, held up. 2-0, and now you're in a good spot to get a good pitch.
I really like this here. Righty-lefty matchup. Do you walk Hyannis too? And maybe
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
It doesn't get easier.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you have the lefty on deck. Also, it sets up a pass ball, losing the game.
Yeah,
you saw previous inning, 2 balls getting away.
Right.
So I think you're in full attack mode here. And again, I mean, it's missing with the fastball. So as much as I want to say you're sitting 2-0 heater, I'm now expecting a breaking ball.
Yeah. We have the catcher, Nelson Rivera, different catcher from last inning. It was Travinsky who had the 2 balls off his mitt.
You have to be careful because you don't want to get under a breaking ball and just pop it up.
2-0 to Hyannis with the game on the line, pop foul. Hyannis has a chance.
He went fastball.
He did. It's 90 miles an hour. It's unpredictable.
Man, my heart is just racing right now.
The Hawks will walk away with at least 1 point. They would be thrilled to come away with 2 here in Game 2. 2-1 the count, 2 men on, 2 away in the bottom of the 7th. which is the last inning we're going to play in today's doubleheader game 2. Ellerts comes set. Here's a 2-1 to Hyannis. He goes at a fastball, comes up empty, 2-2. Took a good swing, just missed it.
Oh, boy.
2-2, 2 away, 2 men on. With your 3-hitter at the plate, a kid who did it all season long for Illinois, came through every time. See if he can do it here for Hyannis. Ellerts comes set. Here's the 2-2. Called strike 3, and the ball game is going to end on a strikeout looking as Hyannis goes down. But looking at the good news, the Hawks do come away with a point as we tie 4-4 here in game 2 of today's doubleheader against the Chatham Anglers.
No, I mean, another great game. As you know, it's easy to look at these games as sometimes disappointing, as there was a lead blown late in this ball game, another chance to have a save, another chance to walk off with a win. But when you look at the scoreboard, 3 in the 6th inning, really putting us back, taking the lead, fight, resiliency from this team. I felt recently, I would say early on in the season, when we fell behind, I felt like this could be it, right? The bats weren't awake. You now get the feeling that in any inning, at any point, at any pitcher coming in, you can win the ball game. And that, while this is a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, it's another day. We didn't lose a ball game. 3 points. I saw earlier in the day a lot of other teams in the West had lost. So I don't know what Bourne did or is doing currently, but it's a chance at the end of the night to be in 2nd place in the Western Division. And again, if you're not losing, you're winning.
Exactly.
Get that
the Hawks
up
get a
right
win.
now.
We'll see how. Or
So
Hawks
Hyannis
get a tie.
now up to 15 points. So right now, Hyannis, as it stands, at the very least, will be tied with Bourne. They lost game 1.
Bourne lost game 1 versus Brewster. Should
Hold on.
catapult Hyannis
Bourne
ahead.
lost both games.
Bourne lost both, so the Harbor Hawks now take possession of 2nd place in the West Division after a big win in Game 1 here in today's doubleheader in Chatham, or versus Chatham here in Hyannis, and a 4-4 tie here in Game 2. But before we wrap things up here in the Tim Elstrom Broadcast Center, a very special day at McKeon Park as we honor Tim Elstrom, who was the PA announcer here and many more roles that he had at McKeon Park for decades. So today a very special day for us here at the ballpark, for Tim Elstrom's family. Want to thank them for coming out and thank you all for tuning in. But before we wrap it up, the Roll-A-Bump Limited Player of the Game. Roll-A-Bump, a term that Tim came up with for Rolling 2, and we use that to sponsor our Player of the Game. So who are we going to pick, gentlemen, for Game 2?
I think you have to go Mitch Jebb. 3 hits. There's no way.
Yeah, Mitch Jebb, Nick?
I'm totally on board with Mitch Jebb.
Mitch Jebb, Roll-A-Bump Limited Player of the Game here in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. And a special thank you, Nick, to Nick Johnson, the general manager of the Harbor Hawks, for joining us on color commentary.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic job.
Thank you, boys.
We
It was
look
a lot
forward
of
to
fun to
having
get
you
up
again.
in the booth. And yeah, if any of you guys want to take a day off in the future, you know where to find me.
We'll be making the call to Nick Johnson once again to join us in the booth. And we want to thank you all for tuning in on Tim Elstrom Day as we remember our longtime PA announcer here at McKeon Park. But that will wrap things up for today's broadcast of Harbor Hawk Baseball. For our producers, Ella Gibson, Abby Stokes, Mike Maynard, our director of broadcasting, Harrison Myers, our co-hosts, Zach Berman, Drake Toll, and Nick Johnson. I'm Austin Nakuda saying thank you for watching. And